Okay, time to go into testing modes. Figure out all our usual audio issues that I create between streams here, and also I want to see what's going on with my settlement. Figure out all our usual audio. All right, because I remember at the end of the last stream we couldn't figure out why the hell old Paul wasn't building this thing. Hello, everybody. We're doing a little pre-show, so if you are there. I'm not going to get into the proper content and continuing the quests until 9 o'clock, so another 15 minutes or so. But if anybody can hear me, please let me know so I know this is working. If he's awake, we're gonna have a guest today, Mr. Sirick, who wrote pretty much everything you see in the main quest, anything involving Jake. He is the brains behind Jake and his friends. So he's going to join us. So hopefully he'll have some cool insights on what I'm playing, and I'll have somebody to bounce off of, so it's not just me monologuing all the time. Alright, let's see here. Why isn't this building? Well, we always try to refresh. Let's see what happens. Oh, there it is. It was already... The game thought it was already built.
Hi, how are you?
Alright then. That explains why I didn't build.
Most people are good at breaking things. I enjoy putting them back together.
Alright, now I'm gonna remember what else I was gonna do in here. Oh yeah, I wanted to check. Did we? Because I think we unlocked everything. I think we finished new plots on the block at the end of the last playthrough. Yeah, what did we finish last? Yeah, I think that's what we finished last time, because we got the water plot there. So yeah, I'm gonna do some off-camera building, and well, I guess it's on camera. You guys are seeing it, but off camera in the sense that I'm not doing the everything from 9 o'clock on is what I consider the actual stream. This is like a little pre-game where I just kind of figure out bugs and such with my streaming setup as opposed to actually playing. But I want to get a power plant going because one of our testers, Mr. Raybo, was having trouble with it, and so now I'm wondering if I somewhere along the line broke the municipal power code, which would be no good. So where are we gonna stick this? You know what? Actually, I don't think I've ever built the interior one in quite a while, so let's stick that over here. Put a little interior power plant. Although I really actually like the power plant, because I did the power plant designs. I really like them. I feel like I get easy mode with plot design because I kind of get first crack at all the assets. So since I put them in the core mod, so then everybody else has to just like trying to make their stuff different than mine. So I feel like any of my plots, if they look good, it's because it was easy for me. Because I just got to use all the coolest assets. Alright, let's... Alright, let's see here. Come on, where's the ASAMs? That's right. Oh, I bet I buried it in the wall. Let's see, or it didn't appear yet. Yep, buried it in the wall. There it is. Hey, little buddy, come out and play. That looks good. Alright. Oh, and it disappeared again. Ah, you kidding me. Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Alright, let's try you. Pay no attention to the clipping in the vent. That's irrelevant. Oh, yeah, you're right. You can look down at the plot. Good point, Carback. Alright, generator room. Municipal power grid, and then we've got to build. I guess I should have done that on stream to explain the power grid, because I think there's still people who don't know about who just click past those pop-ups. Somebody gave me a good idea on, I don't remember if it was the forums or on a YouTube video, and something so stupid that I should have done a long time ago is put all those pop-ups in a, in the holotape. Like, just give you a list of them, like explanations, and I let people watch them again. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who accidentally clicked through them and missed out on some really valuable information. Municipal power grid pylon. I guess it doesn't have to be anywhere near that plot, because that plot is a power generator, so it doesn't need power itself. So I'll move this over by the workbench. So I'll keep it right over here by the beacon, so I remember where it's at. Wire you into the grid. There we go. Oh, I guess we need to get someone working that if we want any power. So who is sitting around doing nothing here? Has everybody got a job? Oh, everyone might already have a job. That was probably what I did off. Oh, that's right. That's what I did off cam. So sorry, old Paul. Your weapon stores are gonna have to close down for a little bit because I really want to get to test the power here. I think I got him tracked right now. Yep, over here somewhere. Sorry guys, I'll hang out with chat in a few minutes here. I just want to test this issue because oh, he's taking a break. Good on you, old Paul. I forgot I put a recreational plot in there. I also frequently forget, I'm sure many of you do too, that recreation is a third assignment type, so you can just build it to your heart's content. Okay, there we go. Hello everybody. Patriot of the West. I really appreciate your team's mod, and after I complete and record my TTW playthrough, I'm gonna do a fresh S2 run. TTW, you'll be a while. That's a very cool mod they did. I played through New Vegas over the summer. I played, or maybe it was in the spring again. And I played because when Frontier was coming out, I was like, I haven't played New Vegas in ages. I want to play Frontier. And then that was before all the Frontier controversy came about. And then I found myself the same spot I get to every time I play New Vegas. Literally every time. Except maybe the first time. The first time it was still exciting. But every time I've played it since the first time, I get to the point I get to Yes Man, where I'm told everything that I can do still. And then I'm just like, I get bored. I don't want to go. I don't want to know. I prefer the kind of like the discovery and the little Easter eggs telling me what I might be able to do, and then like them just dumping all the objectives on me. It like kind of ruins the game for me, and I'm like, okay, I got far enough. But that whole stretch from when you see Benny at the beginning to the point where you face him at the end and get to Yes Man, that's such a fantastic game. And then it loses me once it goes open-ended. I don't know why, because it's not like I don't like open-ended games. Just for some reason that game's pulling me along in a story, and then it's just like, yeah, now it's a choose your own adventure. And I go, I don't want to choose your own adventure. I want you guys to tell me a story. Okay, so it's working. It's Raybo, if you're watching this, it's working. I don't know what's going on with your save, but I guess I'm also not using 500 mods, so probably have a little easier time. All right, so I should start. Some of these should start being able to upgrade. And because I think what I was trying to do last time, and oh, I remember it was off camera, after the session ended, after we determined, okay, that's the end of that play for the live, and then we switched to QA. I think I figured out what was going on with these plots, and they were able to upgrade again. So this one went to the junk went to level 2. Yeah, that is a level 2 design. Thank you, Canuck. You're like my unofficial moderator in this chat. You're always on the ball with that stuff. Appreciate it. I actually probably should debutize some moderators. I think I did at one point when I was doing this more frequently, but it's been and now that I'm doing it every week, it's probably a good idea. So Canuck, if you're interested in that, let me know. Let's see. Patriot, there's any plans or community mods for city plans that incorporate the settlements expanded mod? I mean, the system supports whatever people want to do with it, but anything official that we do is going to be, we pretty much try to stick to base game. The one exception we've made so far is Automatron, because Automatron has some really sweet stuff that we could make use of for HQ, and we're going to try and embrace some more of it for Chapter 3. But other than that, we've been avoiding mod requirements especially, but DLC for sure. Let's see here. Okay, that's just the intelligence training. Oh yeah, caravan services. That I definitely need to get going. Okay, so power works, so that's good. I want to get I want to upgrade one of these building material plots if it's ready. I'm guessing I built them in order left to right here, so let's see. You probably are ready to go. But I also don't know if I have enough organic materials in my inventory. Although one of the things I am a hoarder with is pre-war cash. It's just like a habit I have, and so I always tend to have I grab all of that for some reason. I think it's because it's my, yep, see, pre-war money. My instincts are to, I've learned everything that weighs 0 that is worth a decent amount of caps, and I just like grab that stuff instinctually now. Let's see, Gabman, we're 55 and F4, and I still have yet to make it to Nuka World, although it's 145 that's been in build mode. I feel you, Gabman. The only reason I've even been to Nuka World is because I needed to get there for Research of Conqueror, but I haven't played, so I had to like run through it real fast, so I didn't get to experience it for real, which is kind of a bummer. So I kind of had to like, well, what was that? What did you want, Mama Murphy? Oh, you're probably trying to make me give you a chair, and then you're gonna lay around and not work. Get out of here. But yeah, I still haven't played through, given Nuka World like a fair shot. which is I need to go back and do that because I know that it's not as compelling a content as Far Harbor, but I'm sure it's still good enough. If I take my time and play through it, I'd probably find a lot of cool stuff. Hello Architect, or hello Anarchist. I almost called you Architect. See, I want your name to be Architect instead of Anarchist. Big fan, long time. Any hope for my Conqueror dream? So funny you mentioned that. I actually spent the last 2 days. So every day I give myself a certain amount of time for hobbies, and right now most of that has been committed to bug fixing because we've got plenty of bugs in Chapter 2, and like there's the long save issue that all of you are waiting for me to fix. And then I've started now to, because I'm at the point where the bugs are taking longer and it's, you know, threatening to burn me out. I started working today on planning out how the Conqueror code is going to work in SS2. So it is happening. I can't tell you the Conqueror. The one thing that comes up every stream so far is people want to know what's happening with Conqueror's storyline. All I'll say about that is that's a maybe, but the Conqueror mechanics, like I'd say 90% of them are making their way over. There's a few that don't make sense anymore. There's some that need improvements, but the general gist of allowing you to go to war with your settlements is definitely coming back, because I love that. I love those mechanics. I think they add so much depth. They add kind of they transform Sim settlements from SimCity gameplay into Civilization gameplay, and it'll be an optional thing because I know not everybody's into that. Some people just want the more leisurely play of Sim settlements, and so that'll still be supported. But yeah, I've already started planning. I've been rewatching all of my tutorial series for Conqueror to try and get myself in the right mindset. It's coming. Oh, you must decline. Okay, no problem, Canuck. I appreciate you catching people's questions though, and letting them know about my lack of ability to see anything that isn't tagged with my name in it. Let's see here. So for those of you who are new to the stream, I'll go over all this again right when we get started at 9 o'clock for real. But if you want my attention, definitely ping me with that King Gath in your message because it highlights real bright on my screen, and then it just catches my eye and I'll pick it out of the chat. Not crazy. What would be a safe amount of settlers in each settlement that would help limit script lag? It depends on the system you're on. I think that 20 is about safe for most folks. If you're on an older Xbox like S or the original, and not the new Series S, but like I hate that they did this with the stupid names of Xbox. They should have made it less confusing. The previous generation's S or the original Xbox One probably can't handle more than 15. Xbox One X and either of the Series S or X should be fine with to handle 20. They'll run more like a decent PC. Let's see here. Keith Cummings, what would it take to port the city plans from SS1 Conquest Winners to SS2? That is almost done already. So No Fuss, No Muss is a designer on our team. She's the one who designed all of the world repopulation interiors. So if you've had the pleasure of experiencing any of those, she is the designer behind them. And she came to the team by working on city plan porting, because we wanted to do exactly what you described, bring all the winners and the finalists actually forward from SS1 to SS2 so that we could have a kind of a light city plan pack. Like we couldn't port all of them because it would just take forever and it would drive people mad to do it, because there's got to be 300 city plans in those packs. So, but we're porting over the top 3 from all the city plans, as many as we can. We had to get permission for each one, and there was a couple people we couldn't get a hold of, or who said they wanted to do it for themselves. So those won't get ported. But yeah, we will sometime later this year. We're going to release a gigantic set of city plans. Let's see. Just wanted to say thank you for all you're doing. Thank you, Jay. Jeremy, wait. Any talk about fast travel out of HQ? So. There is talk of that might end up being an upgrade at some point, but the reason we don't is because there's a story moment coming in Chapter 3 where we really want you to be used to coming in that front door. And we've been planning around those story moments. But I recognize that could be a long ways away, and like by then it's kind of irritating to have to fast travel outside and then walk in. Although I think we do update the travel. Oh, you mean traveling out from? Yeah, traveling out for sure. We could probably add that. I think we'd have to do it after the quest because I think we're relying on the front door for something. I don't know. I'll look into that. But yeah, traveling out, that makes sense. Traveling in, I don't know if we'll ever have you travel in. What I was thinking of, and just got totally confused by what you said. What I was thinking of is allowing the player to change where you fast travel to in HQ. That is a feature that is currently not on the table because we have a moment we're planning where it'll be too epic. It'll be ruined if you don't come in the front door. But we could definitely, I think after that moment, like after you finish our chapter 3 story and the content that's in HQ for it, then I could see adding the ability to pick any room as your fast travel point or something. That could be really useful. Let's see here. Zetail 101, I am new here. Can the settlements build themselves via city plans as templates? Yep, that's exactly what the city plans are for. Keith Cummings, is there a place I can see finished versions of SS2's stock city plans? I don't know if anybody's done any feature. I will say they're not particularly impressive. They're just designed to be, you know, like a nice base so that you can quickly get something up and running, and they're designed not to be overly rough on systems, so they should run on Xbox. That's what the ones that are stock with it. If you want some impressive ones that you can see video footage of, check out the ones from Rise of the Commonwealth for Sim Settlements 2. That was our original city plan expansion we did, and there people on YouTube have covered all of them, so you can see all the different levels and stuff, and there's plenty of videos of those. Hello Anarchist, how are you and your team not drowning in job offers? Well, I think most of us either are already employed or something. We got a lot of college students, so and I know that at least like some of our guys who are just out of college and stuff, I'm sure this is going to be a nice resume piece for them, which is awesome. That would make my day to hear one day that they got a job offer and got to discuss, if they got to talk about some settlements at an interview. That'd be fantastic. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. So let's get into this. So guys, welcome to the stream. We'll get started proper now. I've been dinking around for the last 10 minutes and to do voice checks and to make sure there weren't bugs in this save. I got some stuff sorted out, which I'll show you guys in a moment. I just want to talk about how my stream works and whatnot. And for those of you guys who are new, don't know about my inability to pay attention to things. So generally when I stream, I pay attention to the game for most of it. So I'm going to be playing the game. You might catch my eye with chat a little bit, or if there's a lull, or if I'm just waiting for an NPC to talk. But for the most part, I pay attention to the game for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how things are going. And then I switch over to Q&A, where I'm just going to hang out with chat. I'll leave the game running in case there's something you guys want me to show you, and we'll go to there. Now, there's an exception to that, is I do tend to catch super chats and answer them immediately. They pop up real big on my other monitor, so I can see them. And with super chats, if you guys are donating money, just so you know about how this works, this is a big team, so I don't keep any of this money. It goes into a pool. We use it for expenses on the team. So if somebody needs some hardware or software to make their contributions easier, if we need to pay for server space, if we need to buy assets, stuff like that. So any donations you guys throw at me, super chats, go into that pool to help out with development. It's not to fund me personally. So I will catch those, read them out, and answer you guys' questions if you post them. Otherwise, if you want to catch my attention, best wait till the Q&A portion. Now, today is going to be a special live stream, assuming he's awake. I am going to bring in Sirick, who is our lead writer. Oh, I see him. I'm not awake, he says. I see him in chat. I just caught his icon. I'm going to bring in Sirick, assuming he's not sleepwalking typing that. He's the lead writer of Sim Settlements 2. He is responsible for everyone's love affair, Jake, and pretty much all of everything that came off of the main quest that takes you to that line, he's responsible for, and did some of the side quests as well, and advises heavily on a lot of the other writing stuff. He's also a voice actor. Some of you might recognize his voice. I don't know if he's used his actual voice because he's got a thick accent, and I think we don't generally have him use that in his characters. He has to put on a fake American accent to do a lot of the characters for us. But let me ding him on Discord and see if he's good to go. So let's try this. Let's call him together. Let's see if we can wake him up. Ding ding, ring ring. Hello, sir.
Hello. Is that working?
I don't know. Can you guys hear Sirick? Can you say a few words so they can maybe hear you? Whoa, wrong button.
Testing. 1 2 1 2.
Testing, testing, 1 2. All right, I think I'm going to up your output.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I have to be quiet because most people are asleep.
Oh, you're gonna have to talk quietly. Well, then I definitely need to boost your output, or no one's gonna be able to hear you. I currently, my screen that would show me if everyone on chat is saying they can hear you is covered up by this. So let's see. I'm gonna go output volume. We're gonna jack this up 200%.
All the way up.
Let's see if that. I don't know if that affects. All right. I'm gonna be quiet for a second. Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Okay. I'm testing. Is that a good volume, everyone? Does it need to be louder?
It's going to the yellow, which is where mine was, so that was pretty good. Let me shrink this so I can see people's chat. All right. What do we say? What do we say?
Okay.
He's very
People
quiet. Okay. Yep. That's better. Okay. Cool. So I jacked that up. That seems right. Fantastic. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, I'm awake. I'm very aware that I'm probably going to wake people up, but that's the sacrifice we must make.
Well, we can go with harsh whisper. That's fine. It'll add to the mystery around Sirick. So it's been a while since we've been on YouTube together. The last time was for the podcast, I think, which was years ago now. So this will be fun. I will try and carry the brunt of it so that you don't have to wake everybody up. But I think once in a while I'm gonna call on you to talk about stuff in here. But if there's anything that you see that you want to grab my attention, and if you need me to shut up, then just go ahead and clap or shout over me or something. whatever you can do that doesn't wake up your fam. I don't know how you'll get attention from me because I don't have anything up but the chat on my off screen. We'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out. Okay, so let's get into the play, and then we can talk to Sirick some too. Presumably he'll be around for a bit, so we can get in. So when the Q&A comes, it won't be such a big deal. So while you guys were waiting for 9 o'clock, I snuck on a little early, and I did a few things. I built a interior plot for power over here, so that I could test to make sure that the municipal power poles were working. So those of you guys who don't know about how Sim Settlements work, Sim Settlements 2 works with power plots. Because we wanted all the plots to have radial power, they couldn't produce power anymore. So we had to come up with a solution for that, and that was these municipal power grid. There's the pylon and the switch. You can find these in the Sim Settlements 2 menu under power. So there's two different ones. You only need one per settlement, and if you build more than that, it just won't work right anyway. So if you highlight it over, it should have a combined total of all the power that's available from plots, whether they be from the power transfer, which we haven't unlocked yet, or from your power generator plots. It'll all kind of combine to here. So I got that working. I also upgraded one of our building material plots, which unlocked organic materials, so that I can now, I'm gonna change one of these to organic, because you can see we got quite a lot of building materials built up, and if we want to start getting all level 2 stuff, we need to start getting organic materials into the pool. So we're gonna go ahead and change this guy. Oh, sorry, that upgrade's available. Let's change you over to organic. I'll go ahead and get this. So the way the resources work after the 1.10 rebound. Oh, I love the demolition. It's so good. Thank you, Stubbo, for doing that. It's so good. That smoke puff is ridiculous. So now I lost my train of thought. See, guys, this is why I can't engage with chat too. I can't even pay attention to anything without explosions catching my name. So what was I talking about? Okay, so let's go back into here. I want to show resources and talk about those, because this is one of those things where I think a lot of folks get confused on the resource system. So even if you're playing in component mode, the formula follows the same pattern. Is that the level 1 early buildings that start out unlocked for each plot generally will only cost building materials. And then for each upgrade, it'll start costing, so for level 2, it'll start costing a little bit of organic as well. Then level 3, it'll start costing a little bit of machine parts as well. And then for plots that unlock in the next phase, so if you think about like the advanced power plant or advanced water plant, that will start out requiring the higher level resources, and then each level will require more of the next resource up. So it's kind of in a tiered system where as you unlock buildings, they will cost higher up the chain. So you always want to be, as you start unlocking stuff, you want to start building the next tier up of industrial, so that you can constantly be progressing through the resource costs. It's a lot like different resources in Age of Empires, or in like in a simplified version would be like in StarCraft or Warcraft, where you've got multiple resources you got to collect. Kind of that idea. We've got 4 different ones to go with. And then caps, I don't think we use those for construction at all. I think those are only used for maintenance costs, which I currently have disabled. Okay, so let's see where we're at with the quest. Where there's smoke, meet Jake at the hardware store. All right, so while we're wandering away over there, I'm gonna walk over there because I want to give you some time to talk, Sirick. You joined us. I don't want you to fall asleep on us. It's probably what, 3 in the morning there, 4 in the morning.
Yep.
It's real late. Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody what it was like working on Jake, because that's everybody's favorite. You worked on that for a very long time. I think a lot of people have heard the story that you inherited it, that it started out as a different character, but let's hear it from your perspective while we got this walk over to Concord. So you'll have to probably paraphrase a little.
Let's remember things now. So,
yeah.
What, 3 years ago did I join the team now?
I think it was longer than that. No, I think it was
4.
I think 2018. So yeah, 3.5 probably.
Okay, so I joined 4 years ago, and there was a bunch of characters, and one of them was Jake. He was called James then, and he was just the tutorial character. And I think part of the things I inherited was he's Southern, so I had to learn how to write a Southern American. As some people have noticed, I'm not Southern, I'm not American, so that was a bit of a challenge. And what I ended up doing is any dialogue that Jake says, I act it out first to see if it sounds right, whether it flows. There's been a few Britishisms that have snuck in there that people point out occasionally, but it was interesting. Jake's essentially me for just how I talk if I was being friendly to someone and kind of putting on a little bit. You know, if you kind of get that maybe Jake is a bit too friendly, that's because it's his persona. Like that's just how he deals with people, and so yeah, there's a lot of just niceness from Jake, and it's genuine. So don't worry, he's not trying to trick you. But yeah, it was an interesting challenge. It was very fun to learn how to try to write American, because I've never done that before. I'd never done anything major writing before I joined the Sim Settlements team. So
Yeah, it was interesting because you got started with, and we're retelling stuff we did in the podcast, but when you got started, you were just a voice actor on the team, and then you just poked me once to see if I needed any writing help, and I happened to have some writing that was a little rough, and you cleaned it up real good. And then so a lot of people have heard we talk about how during Rise of the Commonwealth, or rather before Rise of the Commonwealth, I went kind of crazy with recruiting, just recruited everybody, and so some people joined on and then left without completing stuff. So we had a lot of projects in like weird states, and you kind of inherited the main quest through that path of like, there were two people working on it, one of them left, and then it's you and that person, and then that person left, and then it's just you. But I think it worked out in the end, because we've got something that's real special. A lot of people are really loving. Of course, you just told everyone it's based on you in personality wise. So don't be surprised if you get some stalkers after this stream.
well, I think that's true of any character you write. Like, I'm not an amazing writer. I think I'm competent. I've got a background in acting, so I'm used to playing characters. And I think the best characters you tend to play are those that are based on you. Like, I think there's very few amazing actors out there, people who can do any role. Most are typecast. You know, you see them all at the same time in the same roles in films because that's just the character they do. So I've got a handful of characters I can do. Jake's one of them. Like, that's just your friendly guy. And it's just based on like one little aspect of my personality, and then other people who exist are based on different aspects of my personality. So there's a few characters in there that are me, or at least an aspect of me, because it's easy.
Well,
I'm cheating.
I think that's what most writers do. Like the writers say, like, "Oh, that's not how you're supposed to do it." I'm like, no, never. I think you're always gonna write somewhat from your own experience, and you're trying to put yourself in that emotion to figure out how the character would react. Like if you didn't put some of yourself in, it probably wouldn't be believable.
I mean, my favorite character to write is Berman, and there's some aspects of
that
me.
is not you at all.
Oh, there's some aspects of me. It's like the worst aspects of me, probably. But he's so easy to write, because I'm like, what would I say if I was just being a jerk and was loving it? And we all have that. Just, you know, enjoying just being that horrible person. So.
All right, so I see a character. This is one of the new Concord characters that he must have unleashed because we completed another quest. So if you guys aren't familiar with the way the Concord system works, it depends on how you started. I think I've talked about this before, but worth repeating. If you started from a Chapter 1 playthrough, so like you already completed Chapter 1 when you installed Chapter 2, the Concord characters are all in a row. They unlock as you complete each one. So you meet Edmund, that unlock, and then you complete Brannigan's quest, and that unlocks the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. If you're playing from a fresh save like I did, where you're going to redo Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 with Chapter 2 installed, instead the Conquered characters are unlocked alongside the main quest. So as I complete main quest stuff, more people will show up. And the goal was that you're coming back and forth between Conquered, so we thought it would be a great opportunity for you to just stumble upon these characters, as opposed to the other way where we didn't want you to have to keep doubling back. Like, you're already in Concord, so it'd be nice for the characters to already be there. Heligion, thank you for the donation. I am so happy I finally made it to a live stream. I love Sim Settlements, and I want to sincerely thank you and the staff for bringing much more enjoyment to FO4. Thank you again for the donation. Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk to Mr. Dillon here.
Hey there.
Hey, how's it going? Seen you around town before. I don't suppose.
Oh, I forgot to turn subtitles back on. So I've been doing a lot of filming videos for our voice actors so that they can put them on their demo reel, and they prefer I turn that off.
In checking out the mostly open, new and improved Fallon's department store, would you?
It does sound interesting.
Doesn't it? Told Colonel someone would stop by eventually.
So the Concord
Alright.
characters actually weren't your writing, but you did integrate them a little. We had that little conversation between Jake and Edmund. This was an interesting experiment. Yeah, this was an interesting experiment though, because it created this, like, what we talked about today. We kind of create a plot hole because of these characters, of like, why don't they know where Jake is? Like, why didn't they see the gunners, or why don't they help when the gunners are there? I think the solution we came up with today is elegant enough. It kind of works.
I mean, technically, they already disappear, and the solution is when they come back, Jake's like, oh no, they returned. So it's just like, they disappear for some reason. Because originally when I was writing Jake getting kidnapped in Chapter 1, spoilers, there were no other characters in Concord. So we're like, oh, when they see who took him, like, can't the player just walk over and be like, hey, did you see what happened there? That kind of ruins it. So they need to be gone.
Right.
So we just sort of hand-waved an excuse that, oh, they went to help Mala. So that's where they go. And that's when they come back, that's when Jake comes back. It's just, we need it to happen. And yeah, plot holes. Just deal with it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges with the Sim Settlements 2 writings. We like to have some side content in there, so it feels wide as well as deep. We don't just want the quest line to just be like a big linear path you bolt through, so we try to add some content in the wide part. But that means we got to get multiple writers and people working on quests simultaneously, so it's a little hard to coordinate it all together. Let's talk to Dylan here. Dylan has a really cool mechanic that I've wanted since we started planning. That's this too.
Yeah. I'm gonna be frank with you. Ain't much going on here just yet. But once we get this place going, oh boy, it'll be just like home. No problem.
How'd you
Oh,
end up
music
here?
in the background. Hopefully that doesn't get me flagged. I have no idea how any of that stuff works. I just periodically get warnings on my YouTube account.
Ran one way, they ran the other. Kept running till we ended up here. Seemed a nice enough place. More importantly, it was free, so hey, why not, you know? Ain't seen the others since. Hope they're doing all right.
Hey, Colonel! We got somebody interested in our biz. And bring the camera.
Just a moment, I'm refreshing. She'll be done quick.
I've not played too many of the Concord characters, but these guys are my favorite so far.
I really like Dylan's voice actor turned out really good. I love the voice actor who did Carnal too. Like his character, he does a lot of great characters in the mod.
Hey, sugar, found someone willing to help us. Ain't that right?
You're a super mutant.
Yes? That bad?
Yes, I'm here to help.
I actually think we underutilized Carnal a lot. Like, I think Carnal has not nearly enough lines for the fact that it's a super mutant, a talking super mutant. Those are a rarity. That might be one of those characters we need to double dip on and go add a little bit more depth to their dialogue trees for future content.
Hell of a style too. Should be a great place to start. Try not to let him spot you.
Why all the secrecy?
I just don't want the guy getting the wrong idea, you know? Like, don't get me wrong.
I think Dylan represents all you guys, you super fans secretly snapping photos of Jake.
Maybe after, though.
Yes, after.
Aw, don't be jealous, babe. You'll always be my number one.
Oh, you. Connell do this right?
Can't be too hard. I'll see what I can do.
There we go. So this thing is awesome. Nihur made this for us. It is freaking sweet. He did a recreation of the camera from Fallout 76, and it looks beautiful. And you can actually upgrade it and add lenses to it and whatnot, which we'll go do that in a little bit. But first, we're gonna go snap a picture of Jake. Now the camera doesn't work as cool as I'd have hoped. I would have loved to have it integrate with that. There's that F4SE mod that gives you photo mode. It would be awesome to combine it with that, but where it would actually take screenshots or something. But I don't have enough time to be messing around with F4SE. So let's go take a picture of Jake.
So, just been watching the chat, and apparently now I've ruined some people's immersion because they're going to hear my voice when they talk to Jake. Fun fact, I almost was Jake. Yeah, I think it was only a month before we released that. Maybe a bit. That seems a bit. Probably 2 months, I know.
It was definitely
very close to
longer than
release,
that because it took a long time to record all that audio for Tom.
But we had the hardest time finding a good Jake voice. And so in like the first version of the first quest, I actually did a placeholder voice just as we were testing things. And if we hadn't found Tom, who does our wonderful Jake voice now, I would have been Jake. Now, I do an okay Jake. I'm not as good as Tom. Like, he nailed it. He
Yeah,
right
Tom
out
was
of the
amazing.
yeah, he just he was Jake, and I'm so glad we found him.
A sneak attack for 2x damage. Oh, it's so dumb. I can't. If somebody knows how to do better weapons that don't require damage to trigger an effect, I am all ears, because this and the Vitomatic both do damage, which is not intentional. And now let's see. There's been a bug a lot of time reported that this doesn't work the first time, so I'm gonna go see if I fix that. I think I reported it as fixed. Let's go see. So I snapped a picture of Jake, and we're gonna go back here. All right, let's see. What do you think? What do you think, Dylan? You want to take this?
Hey there. You get that picture yet? Or are you looking for a bit of one-on-one convo with yours truly?
We want to give you that.
Got it right here.
Hey, photo Jake removed. That's good.
Get it done. Let me see it. Oh, damn, this is good. You got a real eye for photography. Hey, how about you keep the cam, huh? If you snap a picture of an outfit you think will look good on you, come on by and I'll see if I can replicate it. And hey, I really do appreciate the help. If you want to stop and shop, may be able to give you a discount.
All right, so then that should complete that quest. Okay. And like the whole point of that quest was just to give you guys this camera. So the reason we ended up doing this is because we have crazy amounts of mashup outfits. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we've got as many as Eleonora's mod in here, which is so many, because we try to give all of our unique settlers one. Oh, is his dialogue broken now? Hey, you're not going to talk to me? Are you kidding me? so I fixed the one bug and introduced another, as it were. Let's see, maybe if I talk to Carnal first. Usually he's in there, or she's in there. Hard to say with a super mutant. Try one more time. What was that? Was that the animation for when you bump somebody? All right, let's go see if Carnal wants to talk. I don't even know where Carnal could be, because there's not a lot of super mutant animation markers, so it's kind of hard to get them to do to hang out where you want them to. Where are you, Carnal? Usually Carnal is at that chem station. Oh, hanging out on the bed. Hello. Now everybody's dialogue seems broken. I wonder if we've got a blank dialogue line in the current main quest. I'll have to put that on the list. Sometimes if there's if the quest you're working on has a oh, and I can go do that too. I think I have that fixed finally. The Craig thing. We'll try it one more time. I think Craig is just taunting me every time I go talk to him. But one quest.
Is that the guy in the cage?
Yeah, the guy in the cage. I think. Oh, there's Carnal talking. Where are you, Dylan? Let's try this again. All right, we might have to go do Where's There Smoke and then come back later. But anyway, the point is after you get that camera and you turn in that photo, you'll be able to talk to Dylan, buy a copy of Jake's outfit, which was a huge feature request in Chapter 1 when people saw they wanted to be able to wear it. And I saw a lot of videos of people killing Jake and taking his clothing with the console commands to take away his essential status. Now you don't need to, and you can get anybody's outfit. Like I said, we've got, I mean, just in the side characters, which all have custom outfits, there's like 50 of them, and then there's a lot of them that mashups we did for characters in the main quest or off main. So there's just a ton of outfits to collect. All right, let's go work on Where There's Smoke, and then we'll see if that unlocks Dylan, and that'll tell me if Where There's Smoke was the problem quest. I'm guessing it must have been because. Well, no. Why were we able to do the original talking to them? I don't know. Maybe I bugged out Dylan. We'll see. But that's half the battle, or half the point of this stream is let me find these bugs in my own saves. Oh, actually, I should save this as a. I gotta remember to do this. Save. Whoa. Almost dropped my coffee there. Save LP day 5. Dylan won't reply post say cheese because we are gonna get to the bottom of all these bugs. All right, here we go.
Anything I can do to help out?
Oh, sure. An extra set of hands would be useful. You remember when we patched in the receiver module, right? Well, I'm about to try something similar using the comm hub's transmitter and a frequency amplifier. If those parts
time to
work,
clean up coffee
we'll
spill.
have real-time two-way communication between the hub and any ASAM sensor.
Are you a coffee man, Sirick, or are you a tea man? Or
I'm neither.
Neither.
I was super late to the hot drink game. I can drink coffee now and again.
Are you on energy drinks or soda or anything like that? What's your crux for?
I'm a Diet Cola guy.
Diet Cola guy, all right. My wife's that way too, all the time. There's so much Diet Pepsi in this house.
It's not good for you, but my one vice. So
Real-time communication within and between our settlements would really speed up how fast they can grow and expand.
Parts?
That's right. The comm hub's transmitter, and frequency amplifier. Right now, we're running off the ones installed in the vault hub. They ain't that advanced, and their range is fairly limited.
Sounds good.
All right. I've patched in the parts we need, but I think we're gonna need more power for this. So I'm gonna head down to platoon.
So this is a quest where I'm curious how close it came to your vision for it, because a lot of times we have a lot of meetings about where, you know, we kind of run through the script, and most of the time I just rubber stamp the dialogue because I'm no writer, but we end up getting caught in the weeds on mechanical things a lot, like you know, is this possible? How can we do this? And you know, does this teach what it needs to teach? And like this quest had a lot of interesting things in it, like the control on the radio and stuff. Did that end up working out as good as you had hoped, or did you have a different vision for how that was going to play out?
No, the radio thing, I think I really dropped the ball on. There was originally a puzzle around that, and I wrote some notes for it somewhere, but I don't think I got them to you, and so you just sort of implemented it as was. In chapter 1, it was just pretty much you and me, I think, putting quests together. I was putting in the dialogue, and you were sort of making things work.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can remember the puzzle for the radio. I think initially, what was meant to happen is as you tune up.
Hold on. Let me finish it real quick, so that because otherwise people are gonna have to hear that the whole time while you're talking about it. But yeah, because this did end up seeming really simple. Like I think you just have to hit tune down a bunch. And like I think I have it capped so that if you hit tune up a bunch of times, it doesn't let you go up higher than that. So at worst, you have to hit tune down 6 times, I think. If you hit tune up a few times first, but it's not particularly engaging little thing here. But I was impressed. I was glad we were able to make it work as far as controlling a radio like this from a dialogue wheel, because I'm never sure if we can do this stuff.
I think the puzzle was meant to be as you tune up, the static gets worse, and as you tune down, it became less. But we just never implemented that, so there was no audio clue. And so I've just seen players hit tune up like a million times. I'm like, no, just please tune down.
You better tell me how you're doing this, and fast.
I don't know.
Don't bullshit me.
How's the game volume, everybody? I didn't mess with that this time, but I always tweak it in between streams.
Broadcast on this frequency. What kind of hardware are you using? Where are you broadcasting from?
Not telling.
I'm not telling you that.
Either you tell us now, or we'll just track you down. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Volume's good, chat says.
Okay, sweet. Bye.
I gotta go.
Given the strength of your signal, you can't be far. Once we're done with
I wonder how many people just come out and say, choose the Conquered option. Like, that seems really dumb. You got an angry gunner telling you, and you just are like, oh yeah, I'm here. Come get me. Still there?
Still there?
Carvok, thank you for the donation, man. It is perfect.
Let's see if Jake enters.
Oh yeah,
correctly.
Mala blocking the camera.
At least he's in the doorway this time.
Yeah. I at some point I fixed the thing where he would like run past you a little bit and then double back to the doorway. But what's funny is that Kobus, for everybody who doesn't know, our director, he chose a take based on the wonkiness of the AI, where Jake would like run into the door and then double back, and so like he had him all winded, and he ended up giving me a new copy of the line because he saw that happen in a playthrough after I fixed this and was like, oh, that sounds weird. He's Kobus is a perfectionist and a half with this stuff. But it was funny that he just had to embrace the awkwardness of the AI and then chose to take accordingly.
Before, but I guess that explains their name. Anyway, they ain't exactly the nicest bunch of people.
Have I not seen any gunners yet in this playthrough?
If they could find a reason to mess with you.
Is Jake? Is it? Do you do that, Sirick? Do you condition some of the line choices for the player based on whether or not the player has seen different things?
I did for that gunner line. I don't know if it's used in the base game, but it is. Does the player know gunners? And if it's yes or no, that is meant to change.
Okay, interesting. I have no idea if I've actually seen gunners. I've been like kind of beelining it.
Flips that condition, though.
What's that?
I'm not sure what flips the condition of knowing who the gunners are, if you just see them or if someone tells you who they are.
Right, yeah. I think some of those condition flags are like they only are triggered by certain encounters. Like that one might be tagged to McCready or something, or maybe some of the main quest stuff.
I'm used to dealing with raiders and your typical wasteland critters, but gunners, they're different. They're organized.
Can you tell me about them?
So if anyone doesn't know, you can actually tell Jake to go by himself. If you're feeling mean, you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can.
You can tell him to go by himself.
Yep. You don't have to go with him.
Oh yeah, I do remember implementing that. I haven't tested it in ages. I don't know if I bet that's one of those paths that almost nobody takes, and so it might be buggy, and, and I just don't know because no one tried it.
I've seen a few people try it.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to do it now just to see because I bet nobody else has tried this. But yeah, let's do that. Let's save it. Let's see what happens. Save LP day 5. It's MQ11. Jake, on your own test. Let's see what happens. You're on
your own with that. I don't need the trouble.
Wait, I know this is a pain in the ass, but I could really use
Oh, and then I'm gonna have to decline him again.
maybe come with me. Watch my back.
I won't help. Oh man, I gotta be a dick to him.
Why not hire some guards?
Hire mercs to help deal with the mercs? Under different circumstances that could work. But right now,
I like that you make the player like really commit to this being an a-hole to him.
I've got more important things to worry about.
Oh, I understand.
poor Jake.
You're a busy person. Okay, well, off I go. If you don't hear back from me, well, maybe come find me. You know, if you got the time.
You can hear the sadness in his voice. Man, Tom really delivered on that one. Yeah, but then we give you the objective anyway. So, yeah, okay, I do remember how this plays out. Now I'm really curious. Like, we're going to go over, I'm going to give it a second for Jake to run off. Where'd he go? Did he get teleported? Nope, there he goes. He's running off. And then we'll go over there and see if the quest works. Because I'm curious. If it doesn't, I'm going to roll back because I don't want to do that to poor Jake. Especially knowing you probably are recording that choice and you're going to, like, make me pay for it later in dialogue. Especially we've talked about that, and we talked about that for chapter 3, right? That we're gonna like react to some of the players' choices of dialogue to Jake, so that it feels like there's been an actual growing relationship.
Yep. I don't know if I put a condition on that one, but I might. Yeah, I've got to go back and add those. But just so everyone knows, Jake's paying attention to what you say and do. Just be aware of that.
We definitely had at least 1 or 2 moments in chapter 2 where it comes up, where it's like, do you remember what you said at such and such a time? So it's definitely already in there. But I love that stuff in games where they're actually reacting to your stuff, and it's not just a story that ignores everything you've said. Kenneth Creason, thank you for the donation. Just keep me in mind if you might need some plot holes or military expertise in any chapter. I spent 30 years in the U.S. Army before retiring. Very cool. Well, I will, without spoiling much about Chapter 3, I will say we're going to be doing a lot of war stuff in there, a lot of military things, because we need to get those Conqueror mechanics forward. As we talked about that pre-9 o'clock. All right, that should have given Jake enough time where if we fast travel, it should work out here. Okay, so this is interesting. I didn't know that I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not. The different objectives. Yeah. It's supposed to happen no matter what.
I think I can't remember. I wasn't reading, but I think Jake says like it could be any of these locations. I'll just tune in your Pip-Boy.
Okay.
And the idea is if he's with you, you go to each one and he comments, "Oh, the gunners aren't here," until you find the right place. So as far as you know, those are the locations Jake is at, but you're not sure which.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Go check.
Well, we won't bother checking them because without Jake, if you have Jake with you and you go check all the locations, he's got lines that he says at all of them, which is pretty cool. Since we don't have him, less exciting, so I'm just going to run right to where we know he's at. And then I'm curious if this one's going to bug out for me. So I've never had this bug out, but a lot of people say when they get to this next section to where Aiden makes himself known that the first dialogue choice breaks for them, and I've been trying to fix it forever. It's, as far as we can tell, it's related to the weapons you have equipped. Some people have said it's legendary weapons. I know see-through scopes causes it if you've got a weapon with a if you've got a weapon with a scope equipped from see-through scopes. I know that it causes that bug, and it's one of those things where I probably should just rewrite this as so that it works no matter what. But the problem is it looks so cool when the player has their gun out, and if I fix it so that it doesn't bug out for people using see-through scopes in that moment, then they don't. The player is just standing there like staring at Aiden while there's a standoff between them with the guns. So I'm like really reluctant. I hate taking away cool stuff when it breaks because of a mod, but if it is because of like legendary weapons or something, then that's vanilla, and I kind of got to treat it as that's just a bug, which is a bummer. I really like the way this scene plays out up ahead here. Where are we at? Down over here. There's Aiden. That's not right. I don't think he's supposed to have spawned there yet. But maybe he is.
Who's this? More gunner operatives?
For the last time, I'm not a gunner. I just wanted to find and talk with him. Oh, Slick, thank
Let's
God
see if
you're
dog
right.
meat breaks the scene.
I could really use a little help here.
I always test it
This
without
fella seems
companions.
to think we're with the gunners. Don't suppose you could convince him otherwise?
Oh my god, I just lost it with the camera. Put the gun down, Aiden. Oh, there's another speech check we need to put the what do you call it? The perk check. Oh my god, this is hilarious.
I've seen it with the Vitamatic. I've never seen it with the camera before.
This is fantastic.
Look, all I need is for you to put.
I'll
down
take your
gun.
picture, I swear to
We
God.
can talk this through.
Mine goes
Post it
down,
all over the
yours
internet,
goes
Aiden.
down.
Okay, that's fair. See?
Hey, it worked.
Put it in a way.
All right. Assuming you're not gunners, why were you looking for them?
We were hoping to discuss something with him.
Huh.
Aiden's afraid of cancel culture.
Well, I
Didn't want to
doubt
get his
you'll
picture
much of a
taken.
response, but if you want to strike up a conversation, go ahead. I believe that one was the leader.
What happened here?
Yeah, I'd like to know that myself. If you don't mind us asking, what went down here? And who are you?
Gunner expansion. They tried to seize this place. Locals resisted. Maybe even fought back. You can see the results for yourself. By the time I arrived, it was too late to help anyone. So I found a concealed position on the overpass and administered a little wasteland retribution.
Good tactics. I love all these perk things. Now I just want them all highlighted. Like, now that I started doing that in some of the chapters and stuff, it feels really good.
There's a lot to be said for ambushing enemies from the shadows.
Sounds like you've some experience in that field.
You still haven't told us who you are, or what you're doing here.
I'm Aiden, and without sounding too melodramatic, I hunt down gunners. Been on this squad's trail for a week. This is the 4th settlement they've hit.
Why? What's this all about?
Gunners have been unusually active lately, laying claim to territory all over the Commonwealth. The settlement was just the latest conquest. Saying that, this place used to just be a solitary hut. I've no idea how they built up so damn fast. Sudden growth must have been what made them a target.
Sudden growth? Oh no. Don't tell me the gunners attacked this place because I gave them ASAMs.
What? The hell you talking about?
They're these little sensor things. Help people build stuff. I've been providing them the settlements for months now.
Huh. Then this attack was your fault.
Hey! Now you just wait a
I
minute.
love the Jake Aiden
You
dynamic.
better watch what you say, mister.
That's a bold statement.
Whether it was intentional or not, you made them a target.
You can't blame me for what the gunners did. Folks deserve the opportunity to make a better life for themselves. And I don't appreciate some jumped-up vigilante accusing me of... Whoa, wait. You don't need to...
Reinforcements. Hope you can fight.
Oh, of course I can. Check out my weapon. Alright, I need to get in the Pip-Boy. So, while I'm sitting here in the Pip-Boy, dicking around, how does that scene play out for you, Sirick? Did that come out about how you want? I know that I think the most awkward part to me is that killing of the gunner. It didn't come out nearly as cool as some of our Conqueror scenes. But what did you think of that? How that all plays out?
Well, I remember we had trouble getting the camera on the dead gunner. And you're like, I don't think we can do that. And you're like, oh, yeah, I can. So you got that sorted out. And that was great, because I love just being able to...
You can, yeah, when Aiden says, I think you can check the commander right there, and then it shows a close-up on him.
As far as the shooting the gunner goes, it's a lot better than what it was. Like, initially, it really did look like Aiden's just, like, shooting wildly in the air, because you don't even get to see the gunner being shot. Now we get to see its sides. Each time I see it's improved a little bit. It doesn't play out quite as I imagined, but it's close enough. Like, I think people get what we're going for.
I think that's one of those quests where I feel like every couple of months I go touch it up a little bit, just trying to make it a little bit better, because it's a cool moment to when you meet Aiden. I got to imagine that Aiden was probably the second most irritating thing for you to do on the quest line outside of the player voice, because Aiden was an inherited character, and like, so you constantly had to try and write in someone else's style, and then we were using Super Weevil to advise on it. What do you, now that you've done it, and I think you've kind of got the got a feel for him. Are you glad we did it, or do you wish we would have come up with a fresh character for that?
I like Aiden now, so I'm cool that we brought him in. He was tough to write just because he wasn't one of my characters. I didn't know how to write him right. And so yeah, when like these first few quests, we bring in Super Weevil, who was the writer of Conqueror, because that's where Aiden's from. And so he'd go over all my dialogue that I just sort of wrote. This is roughly what I want him to say, and he'd Aiden it up. Like he'd say Aiden wouldn't say it that way. He'd say a lot shorter. Like I kept writing too long a sentence for Aiden because I was writing him like Jake. But he's not Jake, he's Aiden.
Right.
But I think enough time has passed now where I've slowly changed him. Like he's had a bit of character growth under my supervision, and so now when I write him, I'm writing my version of Aiden. So whatever I write now is technically correct. So
right, that's true.
It's easy enough now.
Yeah, I think I'm glad we did it just because I'm especially excited for it if we get to port Conqueror's story forward and finish it, because then we'll be able to show, like, for players who avoided Conqueror because they're just like, I don't want to be a raider, I don't want to be a bad guy. A lot of people, I think, just bailed on that, and the story of that ended up being really good, and it's not all hardcore, like, gory raider stuff. It's actually pretty interesting story. It's a character story, and so I think we will be able to market it as, hey, see Aiden from the other side, like here, see him as your adversary, and I think that might draw some people in to try out a quest line they might have otherwise avoided. So I'm really glad we got him in. I'm actually bummed we didn't get to. We were talking about Ophelia was going to be in too. She was going to play the role that Teresa ends up playing, but we just couldn't get Super Weevil locked in, and you weren't up to the challenge of having to write two other characters that weren't in your control. I think that was going to be too much. So, but Teresa is a great character. I like her too. So it ended up working out just fine.
I can see in the chat people saying Aiden's perfect and Aiden's a jerk. Yeah,
he is a very divisive character. And I think you've said it before. As long as we get an emotional reaction out of folks, one way or the other, then the writing's working.
Well, something that comes in Chapter 2, which I'm assuming most people in the chat have played, is Aiden eventually will join you for a quest. And at this point, we had to make him, the player start liking him. Because a little later on in Chapter 2, he gives you a choice. And if you don't like Aiden, why would you pick his choice? He's a jerk.
Right.
So it was kind of important in beginning of Chapter 2 that he becomes a bit more human, he becomes a bit more likable. So he's less of a jerk in that. And that was something I had to kind of fight Super Weevil a bit on, because he's like, no, Aiden's a jerk. Like, he wouldn't he wouldn't talk this much, or he wouldn't be this nice. And I'm like, he kind of has to be at this point.
Yeah.
So you do get to see a little character growth, but Chapter 1, he's jerk Aiden. And jerk Aiden.
Well, I think we needed it anyway. We need a variety of characters, right? It's going to be, and they need to grow. We need characters with different personalities, especially for HQ. And we need them to be able to play off each other so that we get some interesting dialogue. Otherwise, it'll be boring if everybody is, if everybody's the likable, friendly guy. So, but then at the same time, you need some growth as you go, or the character is going to become a one note and no one's going to care about them. I mean, Aiden is definitely filling a particular role, and he is. I'm sure he's one note to some people, but especially if you pass the charisma checks, he'll start opening up and being a little bit less of a jerk. And then I think by the time we get through all of Chapter 3, he'll have a nice little arc, so that'll be good, especially if we get to do the character quests we want to do. But I'm sitting here going through these things, and I just don't know what to do with my character because I'm not really role-playing, so I'm kind of just looking through this stuff like, what's going to make me not die? That's kind of what I want to choose. Anybody got any suggestions? What should I do with my last perk point? I just want to survive. I mean, is Life Giver worth it? I feel like 20 health sounds like such a garbage amount that I don't want to use it.
Do you have the awareness perk yet?
No, should I get that?
I'd recommend it purely for the perks when you're talking to NPCs.
For dialogue options. Well, that's enough for a reason for me.
I think it's the one I use the most.
Okay. All right. Perdito, grateful to this mod. This single-handedly contributed to 80% of my 700 plus hours of Fallout 4 playtime. Currently, Jake stuck no dialogue after rescue. Well, that's no good. Perdito, I will highly recommend you head to the simsettlements.com forums and post your save file if you're on PC. If you're on Xbox, you can't obviously, but post your save file along with your with a description of your problem, and ping me since we talked on chat here. You can mention that we talked during the live stream, and I will happily take a look at your save, see if there's anything I can do for you, or if it's a bug I can fix. That would be awesome. So that kind of goes to everybody, even if we aren't chatting here. If you want help, go to our forums. There's a Sim Settlements 2 help section. You can describe your issue. You can include your save file. And if you don't know how to do that, on our wiki, if you go to the troubleshooting section, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a section about how you get your save file and share it with me. And feel free to ping me in those. I love looking at save files, it's the quickest way for me to address bugs because I can just run some console commands and see what the hell happened in your game. And it's a lot easier than trying to recreate it, because then I have to like go through and do a whole playthrough. So, all right, let's get back to the playthrough. Thank you for your insight on Aiden, Sirick. I've been really curious how you felt about that, and I thought maybe in front of a live audience you might tell the truth, because I know there were definitely some moments where I could feel like there was a little bit of tension there, where you were suddenly asked to write somebody else's character, and it complicated things a bit.
Most of the tension was I just didn't think I could write him. Thankfully that changed. Like, I think I've got enough of a handle on him now to write any dialogue for him. It flows now.
All right,
Whilst before it definitely didn't.
For sure. It was definitely it took a lot of iteration to get there, but I think it's working. All right, I just realized I'm going to die here, and I'm sure everyone's assuming as much. So let's take some bets. How many deaths, guys, to get through this quest? I'm gonna save now because it's gonna happen. Which is just, I can't imagine a world where after my performance so far on this stream that I survive this. Although I do have dog meat, so maybe we'll see. Well, he's leaving cover. What a jackass! No wonder. For some reason, it's really satisfying to me to hear combat lines from our characters. I think it's because those are the audio I hear the least, because I don't spend a lot of time testing in combat with other characters around. But I'm so glad we take the effort to do that. Did I just survive it in one shot? That's insane. I don't think I've ever done this in testing without TGM, without dying. This is a really tough battle. Nope, see, they're still there. I said last of them, not as part of the quest, but... Yeah, no.
Oh, we've got some 2s in chat, we've got some 3s, we've got a few 10s, we've got 1.
10s.
we had no 0s yet.
I hope I'm not that bad. I would not check me though. I've never been great at combat in this game, unless I'm playing like stealth sniper, and you just can't in this quest. Like, that's why. But Aiden and Jake's weapons are so OP that they make great backup here, as long as they're standing. Obviously, the NPCs like to spend a lot of time and bleed out.
We're playing with a controller as well, which is madness as far as I'm concerned.
I love playing with a controller. It makes it feel like a game to me. If I'm playing with keyboard and mouse, I feel like I'm working. Oh god, there's so many. There's so many. Wait, why did I do that? Oh, am I out of stim packs? Well then, it's time to jet up, guys. Ooh, the laser pistol sounds really cool with jet. I've never played energy weapons and chems together. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Hide, hide, hide. Here it comes. Take him on, Jake. That was something I think we went back and forth on quite a while before we got it right, of like the level of aggressiveness Jake was allowed to have. For the longest time, like, he did not have, like, he was very, very pacifist. And like the player was meant to be the muscle, and then I think we started writing in, after a lot of meetings, we started writing in. There's a couple times he curses and like let him fight, and then like he gets his kind of his final moment to show that he's got what it takes in chapter 2, depending on some dialogue options you choose. But I remember we spent a lot of time trying to work that out of like, what should his personality be? Like, he was almost written originally like a scientist character. Like, he didn't have any combat skills.
I think the original quest where you meet him, I think it was called the Mad Scientist at Red Rocket Truck Stop, I think.
Yeah,
and
that sounds right.
He was wearing a lab coat. Yeah, so I think he was more of like a chemist,
right?
In the very first versions of the story.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm glad we ended up on I like the Western vibe way better. I think it plays a lot better than the scientist thing. I think there's so many scientist characters already in the game, but you don't get a lot of I mean, he's still a brainy character, but I'm glad we gave him some we'll just say we gave him some cojones, I guess, because he was kind of a puss in our original writing of him. Let's see here.
Excuse me.
Huh. Still alive. You handled yourselves well.
Whoa, why pulling the gun on me?
Felt the need to blow off a little steam after someone accused me of causing what happened here.
Not gonna let that go, are you? Say what you like about them, but the gunners run a tight operation. Sooner or later, they'll figure out what happened here. Chances are you and your partner will...
Oh, great.
Whoops.
That's precisely the kind of
that was I've got one of those elite controllers with the paddles on the bottom. Once in a while when I'm setting the controller down, the paddle leans on my finger and I just power through something.
Can you tell me about your trouble with the gunners?
Where would I even begin? We have history. That's all you need to
So
know.
yeah, I love the arc that we've started to create here because I think we get opportunities in chapter 3 without spoiling it. I think we get to kind of we can resolve some of Aiden's history and some of Jake's history with where we're going with the story without even having to like even if we don't get the character quests, like there's just opportunities to like to deal with Aiden's feelings on the whole thing and where we're going with chapter 3.
Funny you should say that. I'm writing Aiden right now.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, if you guys are excited for chapter 3, we've already got the outline all sorted out, and this weekend we have our first production meeting for the team, so we're actually gonna gear up and get into it. It's gonna be a while before I can participate in development as a coder, because I got to be focused on bugs and whatnot for a while. But the team is most of the team is they have nothing to do once we release, so it's time to move on to the next production. So we're gonna start creating content for chapter 3, and some people are already working on it. I've already seen a few tidbits, so it's pretty awesome. I'm real excited to see this story come to a conclusion because we planned it all as one big thing, and then this chapter thing was something like I did because I realized that we were working on a project that was going to take 4 or 5 years, and that I wasn't confident people would stick around without the inspiration. How do you feel about the switch to the chapter model, Sirick? Are you happy we did that? Do you wish we'd have tried to power through and do it all at once? Because it definitely changes the writing. It changes some of the feel. It maybe there's some moments where some of our decisions maybe don't make any sense. What are your thoughts on that all?
I think as far as the production goes, it was the right call because we got chapter 1 out, we got chapter 2 out, and now we're going to get chapter 3 out. If we hadn't done that, like, we'd still be working on it all, I think, and we hadn't released anything, and that's no good. The one downside is I can't really go back and like change anything major. So if I want to be like, oh, I should have had this plot element or I should have put this plot hook in, it's kind of too late. So I kind of have to go with what we've already got. I'm hoping that I've done a decent enough job where I don't have to make any major changes. There's going to be a few minor dialogue tweaks here and there. Most of it's retakes. In this quest, for example, when Jake is being confronted by Aiden, one of Jake's dialogue lines makes it seem as if he's already admitting fault that this place got attacked before Aiden accuses him of it, and then Jake gets all upset about it. And it's just because I need to change just a few words where I think it's where he says, because I gave them ASAMs. And it should be like, because they had ASAMs. Because he's kind of accepting responsibility there. So it's like, there'll be minor tweaks like that here and there, but I don't think I'm going to add any major story stuff. What I will say, though, is I have gone back in Chapter 1 and added more background content, like terminals and notes. These were things that were meant to be in Chapter 1, but I didn't know how to use the CK at the time. So,
yeah.
Like, they were just sitting somewhere in my notes, and it's like, I'll get to it eventually. In Chapter 2, I've learned how to do some CK stuff, so I was like, okay, I'll add a note here, add some terminal entries there. Because we separated the chapters, I've had time to like polish them and just go back, so now they're even better than they would have been if we'd put them in sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the biggest breakthroughs we had in Chapter 2 development, and why we were able to ship with so much quest content in it, is having all of the writers learn the basics of the CK was huge. And then some of you like have taken it and been like, oh, the CK is not that hard, and started doing other stuff too beyond just because originally our writing team was tasked with, and anybody knew we recruited writing was like, okay, not only do you have to write your stuff, but you also have to transcribe your writing into the creation kit, because then you'll learn how it works, you'll learn some of the limitations, and you'll start thinking about it from that perspective. And it opened up a lot of doors, because it took a lot of load off of my plate and then off of Sag's plate, and I think the dialogue trees ended up a lot better for it, because each person they knew what they were trying to make it do, so it wasn't us quest implementers trying to figure it out. And then it just like it let us do a lot more. So and like you're saying, now you can go in and just plug stuff in, and I think you like dropping in notes and terminals. If you haven't done it already, you'll see how easy it is to just plop that stuff into the world. All right, let's talk to Jake.
You think he's really gone?
Yeah, didn't you see me just spend all that time looting? He's long gone, buddy.
What's got you so riled up?
You heard what that guy said? That this was all my fault? You don't think he was right, do you?
Do I continue playing the jerk since I made him wander off here by myself? I'm glad that worked, though. I wonder how many people have actually seen that.
You can't blame yourself.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It's not like I can control what the gunners do. I'm just glad that Aiden fella's gone. There's something about that guy that rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe it was the gun that he pointed at my head.
Should have brought your camera,
I'm not sure
Jake.
I trust his version of events regarding what went down here.
Let's get out of here.
Hey, I know this may seem odd.
Oh,
but
foreshadowing.
I think I want to stay here for a while.
What was this foreshadowing?
Stop these gunners coming to Concord,
Jake
or
doesn't trust his
kill us
version of
all.
events.
We might have
Oh,
dug
yeah,
ourselves
yeah,
in
yeah.
an even deeper pit. I need to think things over. Maybe come up with a new plan of action for us. Or at the very least, reevaluate how we're doing things now.
I was once we decided, like, settled on the gunners, I remember there was a lot of time spent rewriting old stuff and like going back over it, trying to like figure out like because for the longest time we had basically pretty much every quest that's in here other than Where There's Smoke was mostly done how it is, and then we're like at some point like, we don't have a villain. And then like when we went back and added in the gunners, we tried to add in these little moments like this quest and stuff to try and to tie it all together, because we really wrote it like a big tutorial, and then it was going to be tied into the main quests. But I'm glad we ended up with the gunners, because my problem with the main quest stuff is that if you pick a villain, like say we pick the Institute, well then players who side with the Institute are kind of boned, right? They just can't enjoy the story. And so I think the gunners ended up being perfect, because Raiders would have been too boring, and we were already even before we did Raiders for Conqueror, I still think wouldn't have been as cool as doing the gunners, because the gunners were the least fleshed out faction. Like the Raiders actually have some cool stuff going on in the background. Not even if you exclude Nuka World, but just like the little story with Tower Tom and stuff. I think like the Raiders actually got their due in the original release, but gunners were just garbage. So I'm glad we got to do this.
Whatever you decide to do.
If I remember correctly, I think on the notes I got when I joined the team, it was the gunners who, I don't think they kidnapped Jake, or they were an antagonist to some degree, but it was like just an antagonist to get the story going. Like they're stealing ASAMs, or I don't think the comm hub existed yet, so they just did something. And I think Jake always got taken to the Gunners Plaza originally. So spoilers for chapter 2. In our version, Jake gets taken to a vault. Originally, he was going to be taken straight to the Gunners Plaza. So as you can see, there's already a big chunk that we added in between there. And you'd go rescue him, and that would kind of be the end of it. Like, you've rescued him, you defeated everything, you've got this HQ now, and then it was going to be go complete the vanilla game, and whomever you killed would then become the main antagonist that you'd have to deal with. That's different now.
Yeah, that's
We're
quite a bit
keeping some
different.
elements of it. I do like that we made the Gunners the main antagonist, though. Like, it's allowed us more freedom to do
For sure,
whatever we want.
sure. Yeah, we don't have to rely on voice actors or be desperate for hacking together stuff, or actually considering using XVA synth, which would have been a disaster. And so this pop-up right here, this is actually vanilla. I've never actually gotten it for real. I knew it was in here, but I've never gotten it. So whatever I use for a city plan is clearly not going well. I'm going to have to go over there and take care of this. Now, does Jake, I feel like a lot of these moments, for those of you guys who don't do it, correct me if I'm wrong, Sirick, you tend to write little follow-ups, because one of the things we've discussed and we all realize about ourselves on the team is whenever an NPC sends us off, our instinct is to go click them again. And so like you tend to always put in extra dialogue in moments like this. Like I think I played it for people at the end of Hub of the Problem. There's one of those where if you just go talk to Jake again, he actually has a little more for you after he tells you to go. Is this one of those moments too? I can't remember.
I think it's just I'll meet you later for this one.
I'm gonna stay here a while.
You can try.
I'll see you back at the hardware store later.
Yeah, but either way, we always try and put those kind of lines in so they're acknowledging the situation instead of the blank. I have noticed a few in chapter 2 where we forgot to do that, and it's really jarring. And it's funny that like that little bit, like just adding that one line of dialogue more, makes the character feel that much more real. Because if you go talk to them again and they don't acknowledge what just happened and they're just mute, it feels really awkward. Like I remember watching, I think I sent you a video of this, watching a Let's Play where the conversations at the end of chapter 2 didn't fire, and so like the NPCs are all just like, yeah, hello, after this big moment is revealed, and then like nobody responds to it. It was very awkward. So like those, I'm glad we do those. I actually think there are spots where we could do more of them, but we've done a pretty good job.
I'd say half the amount of time there's probably extra there. Times that they're not, the NPCs just meant to repeat the last thing they said, like go over there, go do that thing.
Yeah,
and I don't think they're always in. So something I might do once we've released everything is go back, do a full playthrough and be like, where can we add those bits of polish, and see if we can get the VA back just to do a few extra lines just to fill in the gaps here and there.
Yeah, I'd be down with that for sure. All right, let's go see if we can rescue old Craig, because now we're at a point where we got a little break in the story to go do stuff. So perfect, we'll do this. I think the other thing I want to do, I think I mentioned it last stream, is we got to go rescue Cola, because if we don't do it soon enough, we lose the opportunity. We got to have little Cola. All right, let's see if Craig's working today. Otherwise, this will be attempt number 3 or 4 on stream that I failed to do this quest. I remember I put in a backup plan. There's a oh, the raiders respawned. Did not anticipate that. Has it been that long? I can't imagine it's been that long. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I wonder if it's up on the thing. Nope, there they are. Well, you guys ate it to laser fire. Are laser pistols always this OP in the early game? Like, I've never felt this powerful with a 10mm before, but I never bother with energy weapons.
Energy weapons, I think, are fairly powerful.
Oops, and jet, since it seems like that's going to have to be my substitute for Stimpaks for a little bit until I can get back to a doctor. All right, so I added a little thing here, so if this doesn't work... Yeah, and those lines we have recorded now. Actually, Retox just told me they're ready to go, so I can get him to actually say these lines. I added a little fix. If any of you guys have this problem right here, where you've got Craig here and he's not talking, I added an extra trigger. If you close the door and reopen it, it should attempt to analyze the quest again, and he'll stand up if it worked. Yay!
Thank you so much. Holy shit, there's so much blood. Oh, if you don't mind, who are you? Sorry, who are you? I'm Craig.
Just ask him the exact same word for word question.
With Mr. Brannigan. Oh, my ears are still kind of ringing. Those guns were really close to my head.
Well, that worked out well that I had to have a little firefight. Otherwise, that would have been a long time coming. He's been sitting here for like 2 weeks in my game, just tied up, not moving.
I'm here to help you.
Cool. I guess Brannigan sent you. Holy shit, Brannigan. I got to get to Concord. I'll see you later, I guess.
So in the original, so this is funny. I knew this was going to happen. So in the original implementation of this, we kept having him get stuck on the cage like this. So I know I think SAG changed it so that he walks, and then it makes him so it comes out. But after him saying like, "Holy shit, I've got to go, Brannigan's waiting for me," I think when I was doing the fixes, I switched it to a run, and now he gets stuck again. This stupid nav meshing thing. But eventually he takes off running after he figures out how to catch this corner. So I left it though for now because I'm just like, most people are going to be like, oh, it's Bethesda. A lot of times we get off the hook. Oh, and now you're not going to run after I went through and made sure that you had a run animation set or a run AI package set up. You jerk. All right. Let's go back to Abernathy and see if we can save that settlement. I don't think I've ever actually lost a settlement in a real game before. This will be real weird if that happens. I think you have to get it all the way down to 0% before that happens though. All right, let's see what's going on here. Why is this place so derelict? Oh man, they've built nothing. And I love how they happen to build all the farm or the houses. They built all the ones as far as possible away from from up there. Let's see. Well, they've recruited a few settlers. All right, let's see what's going on here. Oh yeah, this place is a disaster. Wait, what do you mean 0 food? Get out of here with that. Oh, it's because there's a water shortage, so that makes it. There's the 16 food. Alright, so we need to get some water for these folks. Some defense. Do they not have martial plots? They might not. Yeah, they do. Some of the city, because this is, I think this is our, I want to say this is our, no, this is not our ROTC plan, so they should have all the different plans. This is our base plans. I think I decided to use all the base instead of the ROTC, because then I could catch some bugs in those base ones, which are the ones I have, are a little more feasible for me to fix. The ROTC one, actually ROTC is probably easier for me to fix, but it's more variables introduced into the system. Let's see, let's get some water for these folks. No concrete. Well, that's a bummer. Well, we might just be cheating here. Let's see here. Oh, I've got a water plot over there. We'll just do some reassignments because we don't need 19 food for 5 people. You guys got too many farmers. So, Mr. Settler, congratulations. You are now a water engineer. Actually, I don't remember all the job titles of what we call everybody. The sadness. If you ever see that up there, all that means is that you haven't met the upgrade requirements for happiness yet. Oh, I know what we can build too. We should build a caravan services. I should set that up. Connect the settlements because I've got quite a pile of extra resources. That's probably why they're not building. They don't have enough resources. We've only got, I don't even know where the hell they got 600 building materials from. So let's see here. What should we change into a caravan services? And what are you doing, buddy? Blake, you're just chilling. All right, let's make you you're going to be in charge of that martial plot, mostly because I happen to grab you right there and we got too much food. Let's see here. I think we're going to change out. Yeah, we'll change out to this residence here, I guess. We'll change you out to a municipal plot. This is one of my favorite parts of why we changed to SS2, being able to like fix certain things, like the fact that the plots were all, some of them were different sizes and they had these weird origins and stuff. It was so nice to fix that with SS2. Anybody who was along the ride for all of the SS1 development, there were 2 different patches where I updated the models and I had to keep the old ones, the old records in place so I wouldn't break people's saves. It was getting to be such a mess. Not advanced options, customized plot is what I want. Customized plot, change plot type. Yeah, we're gonna switch you to municipal. Give that a moment to swap over. All right, water plant's getting built. Had to blow up that little bit of scrap that was on the ground. Nope, little icon stuck there. I actually think I'm gonna add an option soon. I don't know if it'll be the next patch. I think the next patch is gonna be just hotfix bug stuff for Friday. I think we're gonna release it. But I think one of the things I'm gonna do soon, because we're starting to get down to the details on the long save issue that a lot of you guys are having, and we think it might just be script traffic. And one of the things that actually is a ton of script traffic is those floating icons, having them toggle on and off. So what I'm thinking, let me know what you guys think about this idea of making it so the first time they appear when you get to workshop mode, like so I go here and I do this once, is then from then on, as long as you're in the settlement, they stay there. And then if you leave again, they'll all disappear. That way the scripts don't have to run to toggle them back and forth, because that's the nasty part of it. It'll be a little unimmersive while you run around because you got to see those things floating. But I think a lot of people, like when we were first showing this to the testing team, this wasn't planned originally, but I think once we started getting it in there, I think some of us on the dev team thought this too, is like, oh, it's kind of like the ASAM sensors projecting them up in space. It's like augmented reality, and I think that's what we ended up calling it in the options too. It's called I think it's like AR icons or something, which I'm pretty happy with. I like that idea, but that would why do we have so much food? That's only producing 12. What is going on here? Anyway, I think that will save a lot of traffic, and I don't think I don't think it would be that irritating. What do you think, Sirick? Would you mind if you're running around after you went into workshop mode once, if you were in your settlement and there's floating icons left after that moment?
I think that's how I prefer it. And if there's just a way to turn it off, go press the button on the assembly, turn it off, and then turn it back on.
Sure.
I'd be cool with that.
I think at this point everybody would just be happy with more performance, so we'll probably say yes to almost any options. I actually thought about that too. I was just having whenever I get like I'm working out and I get into the zone, or if I'm in the shower and just kind of chilling, I'll start thinking about sim settlements inevitably, and I come up with these ideas that I'm like, that's going to be so much work, but I really want to do it. And one of them I had today was to come up with a performance mode of sim settlements where it'll like set a bunch of options in a way that would make the mod run really smooth, like minimal script load, but it would require the player to do certain things they were used to that were automated. They would have to do them manually from then on, and I think that might still be valuable to folks. Like even if I had to do like a wiki entry that explains like, hey, if you put performance mode on, you're gonna have to start doing this stuff manually, like turn off auto assignment and turn off this and that, where it would make the mod run just a lot better for mid to low end systems, but it would just require a little more manual intervention. I think a lot of you would probably be fine with that if the game ran better. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, I missed a couple of super chats here. Sam Phillips, or Carbach as we all know. I'm sure that the base plans that came with this too have a plot for the caravan, but settlers are settlers and they build what they want. Yeah, I agree. It actually, we've gone. I'm gonna do like a heavy overhaul of the plot code, because there's some quirks to it that I don't know what's going. Or the city plan code, not the plot code. The city plan code. There's some stuff about it that doesn't add up, and I think it was just I had made a bad assumption at some point during development of SS2 that the city plan code was going to be able to port cleanly over from SS1, and so it didn't get nearly as much development time as the plot code did, and I want to rectify that mistake. I want to spend the time of really diving in deep to the city plan code and giving it the same updates I did to the plot code. So the plots, I mean, as you guys can see, got substantial upgrades, and like they got all these icons, they got better menu system, better statuses. They the refresh works way faster, and like if anybody who's tried refreshing a city plan in SS2 knows that that's just asking for trouble. It's a train wreck. So I'd love to go back. I want to take some time and go back and repair all that, give the city plan code the love it deserves. All right, so there we go. There's our caravan services. We'll have to go build one of those in Sanctuary as well. And it looks like this plot must be stuck because it's not doing anything. Let's see here. Let's give this guy a little refresh. Plot is finishing an operation. Try again later. Are you dead in the water plot? Let's see. Still says level 0. Okay, we'll come back to you in a minute here. All right, let's see here. Victoria Calendar, thank you for the donation. Good evening, King Gath. I hope all is going well with your work on SS2, and that you and your team have a great week. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I mean, everything's going all right with SS2. A lot of it's going great. Let's leave it at that. For me personally, it's a little stressful because we have some like really nasty bugs that are kind of on my they're on me to sort out. But unfortunately, I've got some really cool people in the community that are helping me out. Is it Mystic or Mystical Panda? And I'm gonna butcher all of your names because I recognize them and on site, but I don't have them in front of me. Nafsus and M Sabala, all three of them have been giving me a lot of helpful information about the long save issue, which we got this big thread going. If any of you guys is having the long save issue and want to, and you find yourself to be a good troubleshooter and you want to help out, we've got a thread going on the forums. If you go into latest news, you'll see it. It's like long save research tool, I think it's titled. And like the more skilled troubleshooters we have banging their head against the problem, the better it'll help us get to the bottom of that problem, because I'm sure it's a solvable problem. Like if it turns out not to be, then it's time to pack it up and be done with this engine. What is going on with this plot? This plot seems borked. So I would spend the time troubleshooting. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna save this, save LP day 5, and then we're gonna scrap it and just replace it because I want to move on. Broken plot. There we go. And that wasn't a bad save at all. See, the long save issue makes no sense to me because like the way everybody describes it, it's like always in settlements. This is like a crazy busy settlement and no problem at all. All right, let's get you out of here. Well, let's build this. Well, I guess I get my answer today if people are interested in seeing me do settlement stuff, because I'm spending way more time on settlement stuff today than I normally do. I've been trying to just power through our quest line because I want to get to chapter 2 stuff really fast, because that's the new and exciting stuff and I want to show it off. All right, now we'll switch you to water because we desperately need some. I feel like I would be a failure if King Gath, the man behind settlement gameplay, loses a settlement to happiness. I feel like I've failed you all. So this is really important to me that I get this fixed.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything.
You're gonna stage a coup and get rid of me. Oh, now I don't have enough building materials. Get out of here. All right, let's see what we can scrap and get back some building materials. Actually, I think if I set up the caravan, that'll solve that. So we'll run back over to Sanctuary and get that set up. Victoria Calendar again, thank you again. Sorry to hear about the bugs. I hope you all are able to resolve them soon. Your hard work is appreciated. Thank you. Everyone can play the world's smallest violin for me and my little sad problems. It's a good problem to have. I like having stuff to do. I like having stuff to do that people care about. It's nice. We're making corporate software pays the bills, but people rarely give a damn about whether it works or not. Because when it works, then they have to do their job, and if it's broken, then they have excuses not to work. So I think secretly, most of the people I build software for don't like me. The bosses do, but not so much the employees. All right, let's get over here and build a caravan. Man, I swear I would just invest all my points into endurance. If that's probably not a bad idea to invest points into endurance, because it'll at least it not only give me more sprint time, it'll give me a little more health, and then I won't die so much.
Did you grab the your special book in Sanctuary?
I might have not. You're right.
There you go. There's a free
endurance point. There you go. Yeah, I should do that. Let's see here. Okay, there's our organic materials. What's our settler situation here like? Do I even have anybody to spare? We'll find out in a second when the HUD catches up. Although I think I'm actually really curious if I got some script lag. Let's see if I can check that real quick. Save, script check, we'll call this. Because none of the icons appeared. I don't have my HUD yet. Let's see if I've got Fallroom tools available. Yes, I do. I've got it open already because I've been using it all day long. So guys, if I ever ask you in a forum or anything to check your active scripts, this is what I mean. Open your save in Fall Room Tools, and you look right here. See, no, that's good. It's great. 3, no suspended stacks. Just the unlock manager, HUD manager, everything's running correctly. Beautiful. The save is in great shape. Hey, there we go. That's why it got stuck. It was running on unlock check. Perception training. All right. Let's see what's our organic materials is slowly building up. Cool. We've got jobs for everyone, which means I think our bartender's about to get fired because they're in. It's too, I jumped the gun on making commercial. We weren't quite ready for it. We need some municipal. All right, let's put that over. It feels like it needs to be over by the entryway. What is this? Is this garbage I can get rid of? Yeah. Come on, sink in there. Wait, what was the hockey? F2, right? Yeah. I don't know how. I played the game originally on Xbox, but man, after I got a hold of Place Everywhere, it's like, man, I just couldn't do it anymore. Okay, let's get us some caravan services going. Oh, hey, look at that. Didn't even have to. I thought for sure I was going to have to sleep, but I guess a couple of fast travels around was enough time. That is fantastic. Caravan services. What's our time? What time are we at? 10:15. Sirick, are you staying awake here? Am I putting you to sleep? Just doing all this gameplay and not engaging with you? Are you all right?
Sleepy. I'm awake. It's all good. Yeah, the bright light of the screen's keeping me awake.
Have you gone to bed for the night, or are you just going long today?
I'll probably go to bed after we're finished. I'm a bit tired, but I can stay up.
Okay. Well, if you need to roll, that's okay. I think like this was a good a sample format. I think what's going to work better in the future is if I bring a guest on during the QA section, just because like trying to balance it of like playing the game and talking and then like keeping a steady pace going is kind of difficult. So I think that might end up working better in the future for other team members. We bring them on, or if you come on for a second go one day when you're less sleepy.
I have my office set up next time so I can actually speak at a decent volume.
Not have to whisper. All right, here we go. So let's get that caravan going. I like that my happiness is on the rise here. This is great. Got a lot of green numbers up there. I don't know where my HUD is. What is going on there? Let's try this again. Usually this should appear soon. There it goes. There's the HUD. Sometimes you need a location change to trigger it. Just got to kind of like move around the settlement a little bit. Okay, we can turn off this. At least it's not raining. Get out of here, Preston. We will untrack occupants. There we go.
Things are really shaping up around here. What can I do you for?
Oh yeah, we were going to talk to old Paul. Perfect. Come on.
There.
If you got a minute, would you mind checking on my old buddy Amos? He lives in a shack not far from here.
This quest I think was written by Super Weevil, wasn't it? Because like you were just overwhelmed and I'm throwing in this new idea of a dog last minute, like in the last 2 months of dev.
Sure thing.
Much obliged.
I'm not sure. I think maybe he wrote the outline and I finished it because I remember I wrote all the
dialogue for it.
All the Nuka stuff when you go meet little Cola.
Yeah, I just remember that we tried to bring in Super Evil toward the end because we were like you were just stretched so thin, and then I had this opportunity to get my dog put in the game. And I'm like, we got to do this, guys. We got to do this.
It's a half and half on this quest. I'm pretty sure Super Evil came up with the outline and did at least half the dialogue, and I think I just finished it off because I think I implemented it as well in terms of putting the dialogue.
Yeah, putting into the CK. Yeah, that was something like there was a nice long save. That was one of those things where, like, when you did the dialogue for Chapter 1, that was, like, such an eye-opener of, like, oh, man, this is so much better. Because, like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, do you think it helped you in your Chapter 2 writing, knowing how the CK worked? So, I think, like, had I done that from the get-go with Conqueror, I bet we would have finished it. Because part of the thing that slowed us down, not only, like, was it with, Super Weevil had to leave the project, and that's our big one that we cite the most, but I think had he been entering his own dialogue in, it would have made it so that we could have released quicker because I wouldn't have been doing it all myself. And then it might have worked out that way. So I'm so glad we did that. I cannot say enough how happy I am to have all of you guys helping with all that implementation, because now you know it's a lot of hours it takes to get those trees working right. And I think they come out better and when you guys do them.
I think it's a case of the person who knows best how it should go in is the person who wrote it.
Yeah.
And if you actually write, like, I think initially we did try writing sort of a document of here's how this should all go in for whoever's going to implement it, and it just didn't work. And it's like the time it took to write that document, I could have just put it myself.
Right, right.
I just needed to know how to do it.
Yeah, get him, dog meat. Oh, here, little cola. I gotcha, I gotcha.
Oh, looks like we got some bots in chat. Howdy there, bots.
Oh, hello. And that's I feel like that's the same bot too. Let's see, hide user on this. We'll just say we'll do report. Should I put them? Let's see. What should I report them for? Unwanted commercial content. No. Pornography or sexually explicit material. That seems pretty good. Child abuse. Child abuse. There we go. Hate speech or bullying. What do you guys think? Let's take a vote. First one to get 3. Child abuse, hate speech, or bullying. Which one do you think? Or pornography. Which of those should we report this person for? Let's see. Oh, you hurt.
What's wrong? You hurt?
There's actually a bunch of animations with Cola that aren't in use yet because I couldn't get them to work reliably. Like we have an animation where Cola runs circles around dog meat. I don't know if any of you guys have a small dog. Small dogs will kind of harass bigger dogs and just like make their lives miserable sometimes. Sometimes the reverse, but we have this great animation for it, and I couldn't get it to work reliably. Like once in a while it would work, and other times it wouldn't, and so we just never really did anything with it, which is a bummer.
I think bullying won, by the way.
Bullying? Okay.
I feel bullied, so.
Harassment or bullying. This is harassing me. Report. There we go. Oh, man. What? I got a pop-up that said, important, if you feel... if you feel like you're in danger, please contact the authorities immediately. Okay.
It's good advice.
Yeah. All right. Hide user. There we go. Let's see if this user's messages will be hidden. Okay. Hopefully that makes them all go away in the history. I'm curious if in the replay of the chat, if all that crap is going to be there, or if that's going to just be gone, and everyone who's watching the replay of this is going to be like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
It says message deleted. I don't know if it will show up for the user though on the replay.
On the replay, that'll be interesting. Yeah. All right.
I am glad we got that color pattern, just because that was written that way to reuse the dog meat, sort of leaning down and going to stroke or whatever.
Right.
Because otherwise the place is like, oh, and Nuka-Cola, odd name. It's like, how do you know that? It's because they're meant to read the color. They're meant to bend down and give a read the color.
Well, you got to be able to pet the dog. Oh, and you know what else we have for the small dogs that isn't being used right now? So I've always planned to release a small dog mod. I'm going to do it one day. It's just my plate is just overloaded right now. Is we have an animation of Cola riding in the vertibird where dog meat does. So people will be able to when I release the small dogs mod, it's going to basically be not a replacer of dog meat, but like lets you take the small dog the same way you take dog meat.
I'm going to say something that's going to be somewhat in code, just to not ruin anything. That character who we kind of want to get in, who you really like and I really like.
Yeah.
What would you think if they adopted Cola?
Oh my God, that would be too good. I still don't know if that character's going to happen though. We've got to like tighten up because the feature creep got real in Chapter 2. And now that I've started planning Conqueror stuff and going back over all the notes and putting it on paper and like committing to it, I'm like, oh man, there's so much potential for creep here.
Back already? How's the old boozer faring these days? And who's the little lady? Gracious, she looks in a bad way.
I'm sorry. He's dead.
Dang. I kept telling him those.
Yeah, the camera mod separately too. I should tell. I bet Niher still has a copy of the camera in its own mod. It would be really easy to release that one. The dog one's going to be a pain. That's why it hasn't happened yet. It's going to take me a lot of hours to get that extracted.
Gracious, what did they do to you? I know you've got other things to worry about. She's hurt pretty bad, but I can help her through this. Please, leave her with me. Before you go, though, If you happen to have or find some...
Oh, you know what's funny? There was a thing of dog food sitting over by Craig, and I thought to grab it, and I was tickling my brain. I should grab it, and I think that was from Fallout 76 urges of like dog meat or dog food's really valuable in that for healing in the early game, and I ignored it, and now I regret it.
Excuse me.
I think you can use any meat that you have if you've killed something and picked up the meat.
Hey, there we go. So everyone who hasn't heard this already, Cola is modeled after my actual dog. So this is like seeing my little buddy in the game. It's fantastic.
Use anything you have to spare.
Oh,
Sure. Here you go.
did I happen to have dog food? Or is this? Oh, I wonder if it's just broken and it's just like lets you select that option even if you don't have it.
I think it counts dog food and any animal meat, I think.
Okay. Well, there was one that said give meat. Sad whimper. What do you think, Cola? Can you talk to me? Yeah. That wasn't in there for the longest time. And then somebody, I think Yagi pointed out to me once, is like, you know, the talking to Cola is broken, and I had to immediately hotfix it. I gotta have my dog barking at me. Oh, that makes me so happy to see. That makes me so happy. Because this is the first time I've actually had a real playthrough with the dog in. Now I want to go make the small dog mod just so I can take Cola with me everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Now we can go back to Abernathy. So I'm glad we got to do that. Because it makes, man, not having Cola, I'm so bummed that that's an optional quest, but you can't force that, right? Like, it would have been too weird to, like, force that as a main quest. It's like, that had nothing to do with anything. Why is that in the main quest? We've had a couple of moments like that where we just had something we really want to do, and like that. Like, I think the thing we were talking about starting off Chapter 3 with, where it was like, that would have just felt too weird as a main quest. You know what I'm talking about, Sirick, without spoiling stuff. We got to stop talking about stuff we know that we can't talk about. I guess we can just say this because we're not going to do it, right? We could spoil this. What do you think about that? The thing that we were originally going to start out Chapter 3 with. The thing that I told you would be jarring for people if it wasn't a major impact. We've already got the model for the character.
Oh, geez, I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're not going to use that for anything. So originally we had at the start of Chapter 3 there was going to be this quest in HQ. And so this will be a little bit of a spoiler. There's going to be a spot in HQ where there was going to be an alien, and I will just leave it as an alien. That'll be enough. And like you're going to be investigating this, and it was going to be like one of the first things you do at Chapter 3. And I was like, I think people are going to think we're going like that. The whole story is going to be about aliens, and so we ended up if we end up doing that, it's going to have to be side quests. But there's been a couple other points where it's just like. We realized like this is gonna just distract people from our main quest, where we had to like tighten up the ship a little bit.
That was again a holdover from one of the very early rights. So it's like, what assets have we got to play with? And that's just something we came up with. It's like, oh, we can build a quest around that.
Yeah, that asset's really cool. I hope we get to use it. I think it would be too awkward to force into the main quest. Jim Simon, thank you for the donation. Please let someone else adopt Cola, please. So yeah. But we're definitely someone is gonna get Cola in Chapter 3. It was supposed to happen in Chapter 2, but we started having to make cuts toward the end of like, what can we actually pull off and still release this in the fall? And then we didn't end up releasing in the fall. Well, I guess, did we? I think we technically did, because fall is like December 21st is when it ends, technically, in America at least. But that was mostly because I got sick. Otherwise, we probably would have released right at the end of November. Maybe not though. It was pretty tight. We had some pretty serious bugs, and I think some missing stuff that we couldn't do. But yeah, the Cola thing ended up getting cut during the. I don't think we even wrote it. I think it was just like we had to stop the writing at some point. It was like we gotta commit and let the voice actors record. But yeah, Cola was meant to already be adopted by somebody, and it just got moved to Chapter 3. And we might backfill that. I think the thing we're gonna do with that and with Paul, I think that would be totally good backfill content to be like, okay, let's actually have this happen. Back at this quest instead of having it part of Chapter 3. It's quest line.
Yeah, I think that's easily. It can just happen shortly after. Certain things happen. Certain people die. It'll happen shortly after that. No spoilers.
All right, let's see where we're at. So I think Memory Lane is real easy. So I think I'm going to do that quest, and then we'll switch over to Q&A mode. So let me quickly check and see if I've got. Oh, that wasn't too bad a save. I don't mind, like, if long saves end up being like that, like 8 seconds long, I'm okay with it. It's I am not accepting these saves people are reporting that are like multiple minutes. That's no good. Let's see, why is this 0 defense? What is going on with this? I just refreshed it. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted view details. Oh, it's level 0 still. So it's not actually built. Refresh plot. I wonder if this is that bug I had that I thought I fixed in the last hotfix where the plots would kind of get stuck at this weird state. I might have to do another save for investigation later, see what the hell's going on here. Alright, let's try reassigning you here. I think you're the one that's assigned to it. Okay, maybe he wasn't actually assigned. Or maybe he's going to make it go to level 2 now. They're already inoculated this plot. Well, you seem to be happy because you're building stuff. Alright, whatever. Let's go talk to... I see my happiness on the rise. That's what I wanted to see. So let's head over to Concord. Oh, we can go to Brannigan too. Let's go do both of those things. Some nice rainy weather. Oh yeah, I said I was going to stop. I was going to control the weather a lot, and I totally forgot this time around. 2B52A... Get a little brighter. Oh, that's beautiful. This engine can be so beautiful sometimes. They did a really good job with the improvements on this, especially if you compare it to like Fallout 3. It's just night and day. But yeah, there's some moments in this engine where it looks modern. All right, let's see. Let's go over to Brannigan first. I think Memory Lane is, that's where we start learning some of the heavier stuff about Jake. This is the first time where we really get to see what he's all about. So let's get the lighthearted stuff done first.
Huh? Another time, then.
Oops. Taking a seat next to Brannigan. All right, Brannigan, you talk to me while I sit down. You get up.
Well, hey there. I'll see Craig made it out of his little situation okay enough. The scars are mental, at least. Any word on Pat?
Uh-oh. I gotta get up. He walked away from me.
I did. I'm sorry, but he's dead.
Oh. Well, I'm real sorry to
I think
hear
we have it on our to-do list to get Craig to record at least one line acknowledging you saved him, because I think if I go talk to him after that, he's just like, yeah,
some
huh?
compensation for your efforts. I appreciate it. Well, now that that's sorted, I'm going to get myself set up here. If you want to come back in a day or so, I may have some work for you.
Oh, it was Stim Pack. That was the best gift you could give me, Brannigan. I'm gonna need a lot of those. I gotta remember to buy some more. Oh, I found a bunch. Whoops. Used one just, I got excited there. Alright. So, hey, a nice level up too. We'll deal with that later. Let's go talk to Jake.
So something when you talk to Jake that I've tried to fix multiple times is you can ask him for a long version and a short version.
Okay.
And for some reason, the short version keeps triggering on when you go back to talk to him the first time. I have no idea why. It shouldn't. It's all set up correctly. I tried redoing it.
Oh, okay. I remember you telling me that. I thought I fixed it recently, but maybe not.
I thought I fixed it as well.
All right. Oh, and we got another Concord character. We're going to do them too. Just going to keep dragging this, dragging the playtime out.
Oh, dang it to hell! You bagged a freaking Concord Deathclaw! This is unfreaking believable! Everyone from DC to Miami knows of this beast, and you done killed it! I demand to know how in Adam's name did you pull this off?
Sorry, who are you?
Oh, Daddy. This hunter beat you fair and square. There's no need to get all ornery about it. And where are our manners? I'm dreadfully sorry. This here tired old hunter is my father, Elias Thompson. And I'm Ruby Thompson. We've kind of set up shop here in Concord.
I'm not sorry! Having that damnable Deathclaw's head on my mantelpiece was going to be my crowning trophy!
Daddy, I think we should invite them home so we can hear the story in more comfortable surrounds.
I can see Craig and Brannigan walking away. I have no idea where they're going. I think they're going to the church.
There's a two-story on the outskirts of town near the old church. Still want to know how in Adam's name you managed.
Oh, I wonder if enough time's passed where Edmund's doing his sermons now. That'd be cool to see. The acoustics in that church are insane. Like any audio that plays in there sounds so cool. They like spent Bethesda devs spent way too much time making that work.
Let's go and finish patching up the window,
like they actually have a custom sound box just for that church. Okay, wait till evening. Take up Thompson's on their offer. Yeah, are you guys going to the church? Man, there's just so much stuff I want to show off now. I'm sorry, Jake. You gotta keep waiting. There's Mala doing the tour back and forth. Yep, Jake's sitting at the radio.
There's some food upstairs. Chow on that.
Oh yeah, he's doing it. He's doing the sermon. And
Is an enemy of one's inner self and sense of peace. Although used interchangeably, envy is not jealousy.
so for those of you who are super anti-religious and dislike this, there's there's a nugget for you in there if you pay attention to it. You can get the gist that Edmund is not just a pure guy. He's he's got to do his wasteland stuff. So you can tell he's kind of trying to encourage everybody to go do confession for his own reasons. And there's some stuff up in his room. You can go read about it. And those of you who like the idea of him just being a pure pastor, just don't go upstairs, and you can just pretend that. But yeah, we have this set up. I think it's what time is it right now in the game? I think every night at 9. So we just happen to catch it. He goes up and does. Oh no! What did I just do? My stupid paddles caught me, and I hit the wrong button. Every night at 9 he goes and does a random sermon. I think we have 7 of them. They're based on the 7 deadly sins. And the guy who wrote it had no religious background whatsoever. So that was an interesting project for Joy to do. I asked him if he needed help with it, because I was raised, I don't know what I was raised, some sort of Christianity, Methodist or something like that, and kind of fallen out of my life over the years. But I offered to help, and he's like, no, I think I can power through it. I think they came out really good. Oh, and you can see up in the church there, Edmund's got a nice house. I actually should go show that, but I'll do that later. Let's move on to Jake. And I'm actually going to make it daytime so you guys can see him. So let's go set game hour to 11. That should be good. And then we'll make sure the weather's good. All right. And then we'll save, because time traveling like that can sometimes bust things. LP day 5, pre-MQ12. There we go. All right. Let's get in there.
They ain't very nice. They're called gunners. So if you see any, make sure you stay far away from them, all right? Okay, now, I gotta go. But wherever you are, stay safe. I'll see you again soon, sweetheart.
Uh-oh. This is broken? What do we think? Oh, there it goes. Huh. I wonder if it's like the angle I came at it, there was like something blocking it. It was like, you can see there's like certain angles where it won't go. That's interesting. I might have to tighten up the distance before that triggers.
Jake. Oh, hey, Slick. Didn't hear you come in. Turns out our radio connection between the hub and the ASAMs works just fine. I was just recording a message for someone.
I think I have to do the short version though, just for the sake of I love the long version. I like how much detail there is, but since we're streaming, I think I gotta do the short version.
You get all the details, they're important.
Yeah.
Who's it for?
Yeah. Well, after the whole gunner thing, I just... well, it's kind of... this is awkward. I was sort of hoping to keep this private. What I wouldn't give for an interruption right now. Search.
I think this ended up getting rewritten a bunch of times too, because you were concerned about how much exposition we were dumping was gonna turn players off, and so then we injected all these like little tasks you got to do to kind of break it up a little bit.
That, and I think the original version was about the father instead. So Jake having a daughter, that was a not too late, but a fairly late addition, where I was like, oh, that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Originally, it was a father character who sort of Jake was looking for, but that was like a much older version.
Yeah.
Maybe I can lend you a hand.
Maybe you could. Tell you what, Slick. If you could find my
I don't know. I like that we went with the daughter, because then you can have Jake relate to the player, especially since we just, we don't try and pretend that the player isn't who they are, who Bethesda tells them they are. I know some people don't like that, but that's the route we went, because we want to integrate as much as possible and feel like a natural extension to the main story. And I think like having him be able to relate to the loss is a good thing. Probably a lot more lines you can pull from too in that regard than losing a father.
Not even a hint.
There's actually quite a lot of father lines. I get to reuse them later on though, so it's all good.
Oh, because of father from Institute?
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
All right. Deal.
All right then. We have ourselves a gentleman's agreement.
I think I don't think the screwdriver was supposed to be here this close originally, but it's kind of funny that he just couldn't see it, and the quest objective is that close by. Oh, and then he's doing his silly
the asset list as well, getting that screwdriver. It's meant to have its own little custom model. It's like it's a thing we'll add later. Still,
I think what we should do is just use the one from the Institute animation, because that's what we end up using all the time. Yeah. I wish we should be able to just gut that from that. There's probably an animated object we can just convert into a static. Shouldn't be hard. Just need to add some collision to it. Tell me the short version.
Give me the short version.
Sure, I could do that. So I come from a settlement that's quite a long way from here. A place called Sanford. And that's where a number of years ago I met this young woman.
I tell you what, ever since you showed me Jake's story and like we're talking about he brings up Texas and stuff, I've wanted so badly to see a rad tornado. I think that would look so awesome. I don't know if this is the engine for it, but I really want to see that now in a Fallout game.
Where are you
I mean, we can try in chapter 3.
I mean, like on paper, when I've got like if I go infinitely deep on all the ideas, like I definitely had in my head a
that damn generator again.
expansion laid out where it was going to be all about crazy disasters and weather and attacks and stuff like that. It's not going to happen now, but that was always on the list of one of those things I'd love to try and figure out. Same with it was also going to include alien attacks. It was going to be a really wacky thing.
What are you talking about?
It's the old plutonium well, the generator that kickstarts the fission reaction. It's been real temperamental lately. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, could you go get it started again for me? It probably just needs refueling.
Okay, let's go. But yeah, so I think even in the long version, I think we limited it to like 3 or 4 cards worth of dialogue before you get a task, just to make sure that there's something to do and the player doesn't like fall asleep listening to him talk, which is a little, it's one of those things that's like, it's a little sad that we're all like that now, but it is what it is.
I think it's more if you played it before, you don't want to hear it. Maybe so, yeah, just a short version, just so you've got all the important plot details, and
yeah,
then we can move on.
But even for people, I think if people aren't into Jake, like if they don't love the character, like I'm sure is the case for some folks, then having listening to that much dialogue would have been a big turnoff. Fortunately, you've got the skip thing, so it's not like you have to listen to anything. But I think it was the right play to give the option for the short version. You did that at another time in here too. There's another point where you can choose, and then I think you added in a third version. It was the F it version. Oh, did I leave some gear in here? No, that's garbage. Let's see if this all works. This feels like a quest that could break a lot. I think I had a lot of trouble setting this up.
What are you doing down here?
This unit is
But I don't think I've ever, knock on wood, I don't think I've ever had a bug report about this stuff down here in a long time.
Target detected.
Hello?
Greetings, sir or madam.
Never mind. We're done.
Protect and serve.
Oh, I wonder if, let's see, fix with 4 adhesive, awareness, bypass damaged fuel valve. Beautiful. Save my adhesive for organic materials in settlement building. And then we go push our button here. I've asked BV twice to do it, but I don't think he has he's done with this cell, but I really want every time you start the reactor to trigger a Mirelurk attack, just to like freak people out who have played the mod a bunch of times who wouldn't expect it. Just hear and they come rushing at you. I think we'd get some nice jump scares on a stream. All right. Yeah, this is Mustang. This is all Chapter 1. I just caught chat for a second there. I'm playing through Chapter 1 to get to Chapter 2. So I'm trying to get there naturally in a save, because I've never actually done a full playthrough on my channel for Chapter 1. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to play through it, talk about some of the background behind it. And today we've got Sirick, the writer of the main quest in SS2, joining me. Keeping silent mostly because he's probably fallen asleep and because I don't shut up very much.
And there are people sleeping. Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah, that's true. And you also don't want to wake up your fam. That's understandable. All right.
I'm pretty sure I already have.
Well, we'll wake you up a little more in a second here once we get to once we turn this quest in and we can switch over to Q&A. People gear up your questions if you've been curious, if you got questions for the lead writer of SS2. Now this will be your chance, probably only chance for quite a while, I imagine, because I want to give more people on the team a chance to come on to ask the questions and try and get them to spoil stuff, or maybe tell them why you chose different things that you love or hate about the mod. This is your chance to grill the author, because it is not.
Yeah, tell me all the things you hate, please.
make him sleep real good tonight.
It's no fun trying to work in the dark. Now, where was I?
Did he just stand here the whole time waiting for me?
Years pass, and Laura grows up. However, me and her mom, Caitlin, we ended up drifting apart and separating. But I'd still see Laura all the time, though. And when she'd stay with her mom, we'd keep in touch through radio. So, one day I broadcasted our usual radio time to say goodnight. But there's no response. Now, you gotta understand, Laura's the most punctual kid you'd ever meet. She was never late for anything. Naturally, I began to panic a little, worrying if something bad might have happened to her. So I rushed over to Caitlin's house and...
What happened?
One of the worst things that could ever happen to a parent.
He just walks away from me.
Hostile targets.
Yeah, we definitely need to get... So I fixed this in one of the earlier quests, or maybe one of the Chapter 2 quests, of making sure he stays on this first floor. Because I think now he's going to go... While we're going to go help Mala, he's going to sit here and hammer away at this thing or something. I'm so glad we got this working. This took forever to get working, but having Mala being chased around by red roaches is hilarious. Alright.
There's a little story that plays out there. Because if you remember when Mala comes in, Jake tells her to go away, go patrol or something.
Yeah.
So she goes and patrols, and she patrols down to the well, where she attacks the red roaches, and ends up damaging the generator. Then the roaches have their revenge. Story.
Little baby red roach. Yeah, I dig it. That's... Oh, there's still one more. Oh, no, not the head. Come on, bats. There we go. Very dramatic conclusion to that.
And Mala does have additional dialogue if you talk to her.
Oh, really?
Thank you, friend.
Thank you, friend. Nice. She has quite a bit of dialogue now once she gets to HQ, because then we transfer her over to the settlement bot stuff that you set up.
Hi. Thanks for dealing with that. Now let's see if I can finish my story. So I'm at Caitlin's house, but turns out no one's there.
I hate that this happens in this game. Them turning their back to you while they're having a conversation. I don't understand how that's not just like hard-coded default, face the player, and then anything else should be that you have to code. You shouldn't have to like force code them to look at you. It's really ridiculous. It's the same with that drives me nuts with the multiple people in conversation. If you want them all to look at the speaker, you have to manually do that. It's like, why isn't that just the default in the engine, Bethesda?
Gathered a few essentials and set off in pursuit.
There's nothing worse than losing a child. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, you understand. Anyway, I tracked that damn caravan halfway across the wasteland. By the time I caught up with it, it had made its final stop. Here, in the Commonwealth. Caitlin and Laura had already departed, but I knew where they were now. Since then, I've put out a radio message every night, hoping Laura might hear it. Know that her dad is out here looking for her. After our little run-in with the gunners, I needed to warn her to stay away from him. I know she probably won't hear it, but still, I had to try.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I've not really spoken to anyone about Laura since I got here. Unless you count the Ron. Anyway, thanks for listening. Feels good to finally share. Get everything off my chest.
What is it now? Feral dwarves? Irradiated death claws?
Man, Tom is freaking wonderful. What a great voice actor. I hope he goes on to do big things. I'm always just captivated whenever Jake's talking.
What's all this about? Death claws?
Can you imagine if it was me voicing Jake instead for all of this?
Well, we had you in for a long time during testing, and it, like for a while it was like hard to adjust to Tom. Because we just got, and we had a mix for a little while too, where there were some of your voice files. I think we even shipped with one. I think there was like one of your voice files that snuck into release, and we fixed it later.
People are like, why does Jake sound weird in this one line?
You must be the ones with the ASM sensors, eh?
Me and my partner here, yeah. And they're called ASAMs.
Is it true what the old geezer said? Can ASMs really help build up...
I love Hubert. That voice and accent you went with is fantastic.
Homes or farms or a scrap heap. But I should warn you, recently there's been some trouble with...
Gee, a scrap heap? Well, that settles it. We'll take 100 ASMs, please. How many caps does that come to?
Whoa, whoa, slow down. We're not just peddling some product here. Besides, I'm not even sure we should be handing these things out anymore.
What do you mean? Why not?
And don't tell me you've already forgotten. That Aiden guy may have been a Brahmin's ass, but he did have a point. It's a fair bet that settlement got attacked because they used ASAMs. Who's to say the same thing wouldn't happen again?
There's no good answer. Taking action puts us at risk, but inaction could be deadly.
I'm just not sure it's right to give out sensors to random settlements no more. Not if it puts them in danger.
If you're concerned about giving sensors out to strangers, why not have them join us instead? I've got no problem defending those we bring into the fold.
Hey, we'd be happy to join with ya. Right now we're kind of living rough, so whatever it takes to get some ASAMs, eh?
I don't know.
Look, I don't see what the problem is here.
Things are different now. We ain't just dealing with raiders or the odd mutant anymore. Can you honestly say it's the right thing to have these people join us?
You need to decide, Jake. What's it gonna be?
I don't know. After the whole Gunner thing. But what do you think, Slick? What's the right thing to do?
I was shocked there for a second when you said, Jake, you need to decide. I'm like, that's not like you, Sirick. You always let the player decide.
Well, tell me about the options.
Well, we could let them join us. But if we do that, we might just be making them a target.
It's so interesting going back and playing through this. It's been so long since I think I've tested the I don't know, first 4 quests and then quest 10 a million times because they involve settlement stuff, and then like a lot of this other stuff I played it once or twice, and then you were able to troubleshoot most of it because it's mostly just dialogue trees. So this is like a lot of this stuff I just don't remember, so it's kind of fun to listen to it again.
I want to hear.
That's good though. Like if you forget every time, we can have a new playthrough anytime you have to go back.
We had to flee our old home, and the place we've taken up ain't all that great. We could really use some help, so we'd be happy to join ya.
Don't worry, I'll get you up and running.
Really? You'd have us? Oh, geez, thanks.
I still think we're maybe asking for trouble, but I think you're right. We can't be scared to help folks. Okay, let's do this.
Oh, you really don't know what this means to us. Thank you so much.
No problem. Welcome to the family. Sorry, what's your name?
Hubert. Here, I'll mark where we're staying on your Pip-Boy. I'll run ahead and tell the others. Meet you there, eh?
I'll tag along with the youngin'. I'm fairly familiar with sensors by now. I'll get his people up to speed before you arrive.
I kind of want to zap old Paul with the camera and wear his outfit.
Let's get these folks up and running. And if the gunners do show up again, well, we'll just have to put them in their place, won't we? I'm going to get back to repairing the hub. Oh, and thanks again for listening today. Good luck now.
Yeah, that is 100% what we're doing before we switch over to Q&A. We need to snap a picture of old Paul for reasons, non-spoilery reasons. Come here, old Paul. Don't get away from me.
Ow.
Gotcha. Wait, did I get the picture? Nope. No, stupid paddles. There it is. Photo of old Paul added. There we go. Okay. Who can ASAM started? I guess I should equip a real weapon before we end up in another where there's smoke situation, although that was fantastic. I'm glad it happened. We weren't made for a fun moment. All right, let's do save LP day 5 end of session. Okay, now we're gonna go to Sanctuary. No, we're gonna go to Abernathy because I want to see if the plot that was stuck got built. Okay, let's go to Q&A mode. So I'm going to go back up through these questions. Just a reminder, anybody who happens to be just joining us or hasn't been paying attention, or who just didn't know who that other voice was on the stream, I've got Sirick with me. He is our lead writer for Chapter 2. He's in charge of the main quest and advises a lot of the other content. So he is one who makes the decisions that you love or hate about the SS2 main quest line. So if you have any questions for me or for him, just make sure you tag at King Gath. I'll see them all. I'll read them out. He's probably already reading them and preparing answers because he isn't trying to divide his attention. But he's also half asleep, so we'll have to wake him up. Let's engage him, get Sirick some questions. So let's go to Perdito here. Sirick, I wish I was able to rescue the sister of Mansfield and Vigor. Just find her under attack and barricade into that nearest shelter. Maybe even recruit her. What do you think about that?
I get why people want to do it, but at the same time, she serves a narrative purpose. Outside of that, she has no character. So,
right.
Yes, I could invent it, but from a storytelling perspective, it's just fluff. Like, her job is to die, and she does a really good job of it. I mean,
yeah,
it motivates Mansfield, and he wouldn't be the character he is if that event hadn't happened. You'll see in Chapter 3.
I agree, and even without the Chapter 3 stuff, I think like you need more pushes to make him want to leave. Like the whole thing is, with Mansfield's character, is we needed to make sure it was believable that he would leave the vault, the secure life of a vault. So between his sister dying and his, feeling like he's superior to the Overseer that we hint at, and then the final straw being the attack, like on there with the gunners in Chapter 2, spoiler alert, that it's not, it doesn't even feel secure anymore. So like all those events kind of are what pushed his character to move on. And so like that, I think pretty clutch that she was deceased. So yeah, unfortunately, not a good moment for that. This is like one of those things where if we had like a huge budget and tons of people working on this beyond what we do, and it was like going to be a thing, like maybe we could come up with an alternate path for Mansfield or a different character that could fill that role in HQ, where like depending on which way you went. But to a certain extent, we have to create a linear story just because it's a mod and we have limited resources. So while there are some good player choice moments, and there's a couple of I think there's some pretty good payoffs in Chapter 3 from player choice, especially some of the end stuff that you've got planned. And there's a couple of player choice moments in Chapter 2 that'll have some big impact long term. But I think we still try to keep the story relatively linear, just because as soon as you start adding in branches, the complications get crazy. Like, I mean, just think about Fallout 4's main story, just having being able to choose the ending in which faction, and then that required them to create all these different battles and different ways to go through and kill off the other factions. Like, that's just a crazy amount of work. So it just would make it less likely we could actually complete the mod. Let's see, Archparn, great story mod, really enjoyed Chapter 1, replaying FNW, we'll play Chapter 2 after. If possible, would you add a settler recruitment option, controllable rate of settler appearance? I think there are probably already mods that do that, and those should take over the way SS2 works. There might already be, let me check the options in here. There might already be, actually let's go to MCM. There might already be something similar to that, because we had an option in SS1, and I tried to migrate most of the options from SS1 into SS2. Let's check here. About where you could set it up so that they would only recruit as many people as you had beds. So that's how you can kind of control it if you want to pace it out. Let's see, did we add that back into here? Someone else might already know. NPCs is under there. Recruitment. No, we have the limit recruitment by city plan. So I'll probably add that back in at some point, to where like the number of beds you have determine it, just because that was a nice way for people to control it, a really easy, obvious way. Like number of beds, number of residential plots was our control point. That was the closest we did to that ever. So maybe we'll bring that back in SS2. Let's see here. Looking for the next King Yatsag. XV Versus. Hello, sir. How are you? Do we get to see more of Aiden and find out more of his backstory from him? Was interesting teaser Chapter 2 alluding to his past, where he came from, and have you played Metal Gear Solid? If this is for me, yes, I am a big Metal Gear Solid fan, especially Phantom Pain. I thought the gameplay of that game was incredible. It's a little hard to get into the Hideo Kojima stories. Like, is that how you say his name? Hideo? How do you say his name? I've heard it a million times and I can't remember right now.
I have to see it written down.
Anyway, his stories, especially Metal Gear Solid stuff, are so out there and wacky that I still am not sure how I feel about that franchise. And like I've actually, after finishing Phantom Pain, I had to go back through and like read a bunch of stuff about the older games to figure out how it all tied together, because I was very confused. And then I read through all that stuff and I was still confused. Love Metal Gear Solid, and I mean I think the character definitely has vibes, obviously has vibes of that. Like the eye patch will give you vibes of that, to the way the character's portrayed. But I think the person you'd have to actually ask that, as far as the if he had Metal Gear Solid references, would be Super Weevil, because he invented the character. But Sirick, I think you can answer do we get to find out more backstory of Aiden in Chapter 3? Is that on deck?
If it doesn't get cut, yes.
Yeah, we have in going all of the different lieutenants we have. So we've got all the department heads, I guess, that you meet in chapter 2. Our plan is, if we don't have to cut it, is to give each of the characters like a deep dive personal quest where you learn more about them. But that's on the cutting room floor right now. Of like, what we're trying to do is tighten up development so that we can release before Starfield. Like, that's our goal. Like, that's more important to us than anything else, because we know so many players are gonna be done with Fallout for a long time after that comes out, and we all want to take a break and play it. So we're trying to cut as much content down till we can get it. But that is, I think that's probably like the first thing we add back in if we're able to get the rest of the chapter 3 story done. I think that was what we determined. That would be like one of the first 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 things post finishing the main quest where we would put that back on the docket, because I think it'll make those characters so much more lovable, and it'll also end up it'll in addition to doing like a little quest run, we would end up having to expand their dialogue pools, which I'm all for, and I know Kobus is all for it too. He said that he would do whatever work was required to add depth to those characters, because that is more interesting. And those are some of our best voice actors running those characters, so more chance for those voice actors to show off their skills. Let's see. Archparn, Sirick, will Jake's daughter have a role in the story, and will she be an unexpected antagonist? Well, I'm sure we're not going to go into heavy spoilers, but Sirick, you can say as much as you want. You know what you don't want to spoil. So.
Antagonist? No. Role? Yes.
Role? Yes. Yeah, we're definitely not going to leave that thread dangling. I think that was actually like point number 1 when we were like set down to come up with an outline for chapter 3. It was like, well, we can't leave that hanging. Like, that needs to get resolved, because that was and I think we also, at some point in the writing of chapter 2, we didn't have any mention of her again, and we had to like go rectify that, because it was like, we can't, like, it's going to be so long before chapter 3, we can't let people forget that. So that was an interesting challenge, I think, in the chapter writing. Would you agree that we had to like make sure that we brought up some of these threads and we tugged on them a little bit so that players didn't forget about them, or it didn't feel like a throwaway thing?
Oh, definitely. Like, just by separating everything into chapter 1, 2, and 3, now chapter 1 had to have a beginning, middle, end. Chapter 2 has to have a beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
And that way, you also have to remind the player about important things. Like, I know something you recommended that was somewhat last minute in terms of writing was, hey, we need to be reminded about old Paul, because we've not really seen him and interacted with him since chapter 1. I was like, oh, that's a good point. Right. That's why you get the gun from him in chapter 2, because it's like, hey, remember that guy? Yeah, remember that guy? I'm not saying anything's going to happen. Just remember him, because something might happen.
right.
And it does.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we actually made one mistake with that. Like, with some of the stuff that's going to happen in chapter 3, I think we failed to re-mention a character in chapter 2. Which is a bummer, but yeah, maybe we can backfill it so that people who play back through it they'll get a third reminder of him before it happens. And don't mind me, I'm just remembering to. I always like to do this. I just like the Sunny in the game. It makes me feel better. All right, we got another super chat. Thank you. Oh, this is quite the username. Not going to use my real name on this app. That's fair. Thank you for the donation. He says, or she says, Sim Settlements has been so much fun. I got back into Fallout 4 while I ship out, and you have made settlement building for the Minutemen so much fun. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I hope we continue to deliver good times, because we got quite a bit more coming still. Let's see here. Going back, I got to scroll back up. I lost my place again. Let's see here, and just a reminder, everybody, I'm only reading chats with my name tagged in, or a super chat. You super chat, you get cut the line because you're helping the team. If you just want to make sure I read your question, just make sure you put @KingGath in there, and I will see those. And then I will go at least an hour more. I don't know about Sir Rick. We might lose him midway through. Let's see. Perdito, I've had issues with selecting Stodge as the settlement leader. Then he is on his way to my settlement, signs himself to a free work plot, and never reaching the workshop to finish the quest. Interesting. So I remember I patched in a couple patches back, because somebody sent me a save with that issue happening, and I ran into it with a test where it actually, as soon as you arrive near the workbench, if you run to the workbench of the settlement you sent them to, it should teleport them there. So if that's not working, I'd probably need to see a save file to try and sort that out. Or it might have been that you got to there before I patched that in, and then maybe it's just kind of he's just kind of stuck in your save, and you could fix it with a console command by going to wherever he is, which is going to be probably, walking the road between where you found him and the settlement you chose. You could click on him in console, and then run back to where you want them and hit to move something to you. You click on them, so I can do it with Dogmeat here. You click on them, and then you hit move to space player, and then that will teleport them right on top of you. So that would be the best I could recommend right there if you didn't get that fix. Let's see here. Commander Wolf, assign Hubert at HQ and generate maple syrup. Yeah, he's got super Canadian vibes, which I think is hilarious. He's like stereotype Canadian. Sirick, this will be one from me. So Cynical is kind of become your writing partner. And Cynical is not Canadian natively, but lives in Canada. What did she have to say about your Hubert writing? Because it's very like exaggerated, silly version of Canadian. It reminds me of God, I can't think of their names. Rick Moranis and what's his buddy? Anyway, so what did you and Cynical discuss with Hubert, or did that never come up?
I don't think Cynical realized he was Canadian. I could be wrong. Because it's stereotypical. It's a certain area of Canada, and it is based on those two characters. Like I did just go watch a bunch of their skits and be like, okay, I'm just going to use that.
Yeah.
But that's the Canadian we all think of when you think of stereotypical Canadian. So I was like, I'll just do that. It's funny.
It's funny. And we need to have some comedic relief among the characters, or it gets a little too intense. That's why Mala's in there. That's where Hubert comes in, and then we've occasionally get our accident, and then like I think Mansfield adds a lot of humor to HQ just because, like, how can you be offended by dirt, in the post-apocalypse? So like we try to add some levity in here and there because what's that?
I see Cynical in chat. Apparently, it did come up.
Okay, so I'm not scrolled down that far. I'm still up a ways. It would be interesting to hear from, because we do have some other folks who live in Canada on our team. We'd be curious to see what they think about it. But I just know that you and Cynical write together a lot, so I was curious if that ever came up. Let's see here. Commander. That was who I just read. Commander Wolf's was. Oh no, I highlighted the next one I wanted. Commander Wolf had another one. Okay. King Gath or Sirick, do you guys got plans for the railroad next to the HQ? Would be cool to get an old ghoul, perhaps to help boost logistics and administration with telegraph lines. I know we don't have everything like that planned. I have always wanted to do like power lines between settlements across them. I thought that would be really cool, but I haven't found a good way to do it, because the only way to like run these wires, which are they're called splines, the only way to do it was with F4SE. And even then, they're only the power lines, and I think it would probably crash the game if you connected two settlements together with power lines, because their grids would get cross-contaminated. I think the engine would just choke on that. But that would be similar to the telegraph line thing. It'd be really cool to actually be able to do that. I think in the same way, it would be really cool, and I know other mod authors have discussed this and talked about how they might do it, would be trains, like to get trains up and running and be able to build new train tracks and pathways. That would be really cool, and technically the engine could handle it, but we just lack the tools to do it. So I don't think that's going to happen. Lively, this is a question for you, Sirick. How much of your work when it comes to writing and outlining gets cut or revamped in some way due to various limitations when it comes to implementation? Oh, that's a good question.
Revamped, I mean, we've rewritten everything at least majorly 3, maybe 4 times when we've had just a complete overhaul of the story.
Oh, yeah.
In that case, a lot of stuff gets cut. Like, one of the old plot threads was, it was Jake's father who was in the Commonwealth, and Jake was coming to find him, and it was related to a MacGuffin, which still exists in the game, but you guys won't get to see it until Chapter 3, and it's no longer important to the player and Jake as it was. It's more important to someone else now.
Yeah.
So, like, all of that got cut. So, like, that character no longer exists. Originally, we had different leader characters in the HQ. They all got cut.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Every one of them did, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I'd say probably everything I've ever written, 80% of it's probably been cut. Everything I actually put some effort into in like the current version of what you have, maybe 25% of it's cut in terms of stuff that we just didn't get in that we wanted in, or just had to be toned down, or a few characters merged into one because getting that many voice actors or having that many characters, whilst nice, it's more work.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of stuff gets cut.
All right, so then I've got one for you then in that same vein. is there anything like what I will say? What is the thing that's most disappointing to you that's been cut that isn't even on the table for Chapter 3 anymore? So like there's some. I know there's a couple of like really cool characters that we when we sat down and had our conversation last about all this stuff, we like acknowledged that while those are amazing and I both of us really want them, they're not gonna. I know that those two characters, you know who I'm talking about, like those are probably a huge disappointment for you that they are probably gonna get cut, but. Of stuff that we're like, but there's also a chance those might come. Like those are like stretch goals. Of the stuff where 100% is cut, that's already passed. What are you most disappointed about that? Like we could talk about. Like you could tell them because it's not happening.
I can half talk about it just because we might reuse some of it, but we won't use this bit I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Originally, we were going to have sequences where you'd go into a memory lounger, and those were really fun to write. Because we came up with a workaround where we could have new player lines, and it made sense within the narrative.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm really bummed about that too. That was one of those things when we were deep in those discussions where we had, because we went through like after Conqueror, we went through some pretty intense rewrites because of some folks that we had involved in the meetings, and I'm glad we did because the story ended up where it did, and it's really good right now. But yeah, that was the thing that like I was fighting tooth and nail to keep. That I didn't have any. There was no it doesn't fit, right? Like in hindsight, it's good that we cut those because they don't really fit in it. But yeah, it was really cool. That was a really clever solution, and we can tell them that part of like we basically were gonna have the player go into the memory tapes, but the memory tapes weren't they weren't the traditional thing like you do in the main quest. It was going to turn out that you ended up in somebody else's. You were able to manipulate them in it. So instead of just like watching passively memories of Kellogg, you were going to actually embody them and be able to talk. So then whoever that character was, we could use their voice actor to give the player new lines, which was going to be a cool moment where we could have pulled off a lot of exposition that was technically from the player but voiced by this other character. I thought that was a really clever solution for that.
Yeah, you're kind of reliving that character's memories, but the more you did it, the more you became them in the memories, and eventually the memories start interacting with you because they think you're part of the memory, they think you're that character, and then, oh, you're suddenly speaking in that character's voice, and we have new voice lines. Yay.
Yeah, that was going to be pretty huge, because, yeah, the limitation, I mean, that's the number one reason it takes so long to produce the quest content, right, is the player voice. You're forced to, manipulate the story around that. And it adds a significant amount of time to the writing. Like I would bet you could write probably 3 times as fast if you didn't have to do player line.
I'd say maybe 4.
But I'm so glad you're willing to put in the effort because I think it really. There's so many times I watch people play this on Let's Plays and they can't tell if it's ours or not, and that makes me so happy when they're just like, wait, is that part of the mod? Like we got credit for somebody I watched play the other day found a vanilla holotape in the Nightingale cell, and they were pretty sure it was ours. I was like, all right, I'll take credit for that. Like that voice acting was fantastic. Not something we did at all. It was totally vanilla.
Those are my favorite moments when someone's playing through and they're like, oh, this is something some settlements adds, and it isn't. And then they play and go, oh, this is vanilla game, and it isn't. Like fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, we did perfect in that case.
Yeah, those are really good moments. All right, we got another super chat. This is from the not going to use my real name on this app again. Sim Settlements has been so much fun. I got back into wait, is this the same thing? I think it's the same one. Did I? Oh, that's right, because I skipped ahead. No. Oh, it's another. No, here we go. I'm an idiot. Sorry, guys. There was a new super chat because it came up on my ping. I just didn't scroll down enough to see the correct one. This one is from Puri IQ. Thank you for the donation. I just want to thank you and all your crew for making Fallout 4 fun again. This is my brother's favorite game. Sadly, he has passed away. So thank you, really, bro. Brings back a lot of memories. Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Every time somebody tells me that a fan of the mod has passed, and this is not the first time, I always want to do that thing you hear about some other game companies do, where they put the person or some memento to them in the game. But man, that feels. I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to do that. Like I don't know how to give a proper send out because like we're too small. I feel like we're too small potatoes to do that. You want that to happen like when. If it happens in like a big game or something, like that's the only way to do that justice. But man, I'm so sorry for your loss. But I'm glad that you enjoyed the mod. I'm glad your brother enjoyed it. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Ron Stoppable. So what's the story behind your nickname? And also Sirick. So I guess thoughts on their nickname. So my nickname is kind of I don't know if it's a good story or not. King is my real last name. And Gath is the name I was auto-assigned. So if you ever watch me do character creation in most games, I just click real fast. I'm not interested in character building. I want to just get in and play the game. And the first time I played World of Warcraft, I chose random name, and it gave me the name Gath. And so I've just used that forever. Like, then every World of Warcraft character after that had Gath in it of some form. And then King Gath became my online handle because I wanted something that had a little bit of my real name and a little bit of how people knew me online at that time of my life. So like, I was a Warcraft junkie for like 5 years. Ran a bunch of guilds and like did a bunch of stuff in the community, and so like I got a reputation there, at least obviously on my servers that I was on. Obviously you don't really go beyond that in MMOs. And then I just wanted to embrace both. So I've always just liked Gath as the online handle, and then I wanted to slowly get my real life in there, because now, you know, I think it's kind of, there's like a generational gap, like for those of us who kind of grew up without the internet and got it later, it was always really weird to put your real info out there. And then like, because, you know, there was no Facebook or whatnot, but then like people who grew up just with that as the normal, I think they look at those of us who stick to the anonymity and are like, that's weird, man. Why don't you just put your name and face out there? And for me, it still feels weird that, you know, when I see like kid YouTubers popping up on the feed and like they just use their real name, it's like, what in the heck is going on here? But I've slowly been working toward ditching the anonymity. Although now, a lot of people will say, well, face reveal when, and I know I'll disappoint you all because I don't look like Sturgis. So I don't know if it can ever happen now. Let's see, A1. Oh, Sirick, what was the origin of your username?
Mine's super creative. I played Baldur's Gate for the first time when I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. And you got to put in a character name. And I wanted a fantasy sounding name, and my real name is Richard. And I was like, well, that's not fancy enough. So I was like, Sir Richard. Sir Richard. Oh, genius. And it just stuck. And then, like you, when I started sort of using online things, I joined a gaming clan when I was fairly young. Playing like Unreal, Quake, Elite Force, those kind of games, and you need an online alias. So I was like, oh, I'll use that name I used before, Sirick, and it just stuck, and that's what people know me online as. Yeah, for sure. So funny thing, I actually had I can't tell this. I had another username before I got to King Gath, because obviously I've been on the internet a lot longer than World of Warcraft, and my previous username was a character from Magic the Gathering, I'm not going to say, and I misspelled it. So it was always available to me because I misspelled it, and people would ask me like, what is that from? And it's like, it's a Magic the Gathering character, and I'm like, no, it isn't. And then I remember looking it up and I'm like, oh, I misspelled it. But at that point it had been years and I was committed to it. Big Magic the Gathering fan, if any of you want to chat Magic. I haven't played in a while though. I'm quite a few sets behind. Just because I couldn't once I had kids, I couldn't justify the expenses anymore. It's so damn expensive to keep up with that game. Let's see here. Ron Stoppable. This looks like a question for Sirick. Will Jake or Aiden be available as companions at some point? Do you think we
I think we're gonna try. We'll just leave it at that. Like we would love to let you guys have companions. The problem is we don't want to half-ass it. We don't want to half-ass anything. And a companion is just so much dialogue. We'd have to convince the voice actor to get on board, and then I'm sure, well, I can't say I'm sure. Are you, like, Sirick, let's just ask you, are you up for the work to do a proper companion? Because that's a lot. It's a lot of work. Go ask the people who do the good companions out there, like Heather Kasdan or Ellen the Cartographer or freaking Inigo, if you want to go to the gold standard. Like, what do you feel about companions? And like, is it a type of thing you want to do, and is it work you want to pursue, or is it pretty daunting a task?
Jake, yeah, I think we have to, just because he's our main character, and he's earned it towards the end of the story. And if people want to keep him around once the main story's done, who are we to deny the players that? So
yeah,
at the very least, I want to try and get Jake in. I'd love to get some of the other HQ characters in once you've done all their personal quests as well.
Yeah,
and Aiden is one of them. Jake, I think we'll try for sure, and if it turns out it's not too much work, I would love to do some of the other characters.
Sure. So here's one thing I will tell you guys all is in the Conqueror mechanics. So those of you who are familiar with them, you remember the personal guard system. So one of the things I'm going to be doing with the personal guard system with this too is allow it to work on nearly anybody. So some of our main characters will be blocked off from it at first because we need them to be in certain places at certain times, but it'll be like once you've completed all content involving those characters, they'll be eligible for it. So at bare minimum, you'll be able to take pretty much all characters from SS2, regardless of where you see them. within reason, like probably not the Ron because we need him to be where he's at, but like all of the characters that you can recruit, whether it be HQ or at your settlements, you'll be able to pull into your personal guards, which I think that's something that people asked for back in Conqueror. And just like with SS2 versus SS1, I was very aware of the feedback. So like you probably don't see me once in a while. You guys will catch me trolling in the suggestions forum. Where I'm actually responding. It's pretty rare. Usually it's just if I see like a discussion going off the rails where people are like way off base on something, or like I want to explain something. Most of the time I just read it though, and I kind of take tally of like all the things people are asking for over and over and over again. And one of the things I saw so I'll do the same thing to Conqueror. A lot of the Conqueror mechanics, people had a lot of suggestions for it, and a lot of those will come when we bring those mechanics forward to SS2. So which is going to happen with the 3.0 patch. So there will be a worst case scenario if we're unable to get Jake's VOA to record enough stuff to be a reasonable companion. Worst case scenario, after you finish chapter 3, you'll be able to use him with the personal guard system. So I'll say that much. Let's see here. Thiago Sundfeld. Right now, my calling potential deputies quest is broken because some super mutant killed the gunner hostage. Oh no. So I'm going to talk to the policewoman who says her line and stops. Oh, that's a bummer. We are, make sure you report, I would highly suggest you report that on the forums, just because I'm pretty sure someone else has already reported this, but I would highly recommend any bugs like that, go report them on our forum, because the more people report them, the more likely it is to end up on the right person's plate. So, I don't touch the CPD currently because 2 other people worked really hard on that on the team, and I don't want to break their work. But I know that SAG, who does most of the CPD quest programming, has been working on some of it, and he's actually got some bug fixes that'll be going into Friday's patch, so maybe that'll be one of them. But I am unfamiliar with which bugs. I think I know which quest you're talking about, and yeah, that would be an easy thing to fix. The hard part would be for like something like your save, retroactively fixing it for you would be a challenge. We might have to do you might have to do a stage skip, so that might be one of those things where you go post on the forums and somebody else can tell you how to stage skip that in the meantime, because dead characters are hard to recover from with a patch, because we could resurrect them and then they'd be without a head. So let's see here. Wyatt Ophir, Bob and Doug, thank you. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't remember their names. And so Robert Dennery, a lot of people, you got the Bob and Doug McKenzie. Thank you guys. Wow, that was way long ago in the conversation. I am way behind on chat here. Let's see. Yogi, did you get that answer for me about leveling up power transfer plots, or tax collectors for that matter, actually does? No, I did not. I totally forgot about it. I think they do nothing. I think leveling up those has no impact whatsoever right now. I think it's on one of those things that's been on my backlog of stuff I need to go back and add forever. I will say that we are in the process of trying to recruit somebody to help us with balance. And to me, balance is not just about the numbers, but it's like making sure the whole experience of SS2 feels like it has a system of progression and that the costs you invest in things matter. So stuff like that would come up during that. So like that person's job on the team, and I've already interviewed a couple people on it, will be to look for things like that, to be like, here's some things where players are investing resources and not getting good ROI. And it doesn't always have to be like numerical ROI and return on investments. I mean, it could be also like, it's basically just, does it feel good? Like that really, especially in a Bethesda game, I don't feel like these are not balanced games. It's a God simulator. You're supposed to just like make a God character over time. So it's less important that the numbers are balanced. It's just more that they feel good. Like, does the point, the points you put into a perk feel good? Does the reward you get for this quest feel good? And that's kind of the same thing I would like to see with SS2 is at every point, if you click a button and you get something in return for an investment, it should feel good. So I think that feels bad right now. You invest in upgrading power transfer or tax collectors. I mean, at least you do get the visual upgrade, which in SS1, that was the entire treat. The whole thing was like, people used to ask me with SS1, can I get a cheat to skip the plots ahead? And I was like, no, that's the whole reward system. Like the only thing we have going for upgrades is you get a visual upgrade. But now with SS2, it's much more transactional. So we try and make sure that there's rewards in other ways. But it could be, we could come up with some rewards that aren't necessarily straight up transactional, but also are more than the visual upgrades to the plots, because those are real expensive plots to upgrade too, because they're pretty high up in our tech tree, quote unquote. So they probably have pretty substantial cost to upgrade them. So we should make sure that there's a benefit to doing so. There will be a automatic benefit in some of the mechanics we have coming in Chapter 3, because a lot of the Chapter 3 mechanics are based around the overall success level of your settlements. And so it, you know, like there's like that kind of secondary reward that comes in just upgrading any of your plots, so that like that can kind of be a payoff. There's also the I guess those two plots. I was gonna say the influence system, but the influence system wouldn't be touched by those two. But yeah, I think some of the stuff in Chapter 3 will add incidental value to just upgrading plots in general, so that will help. But yeah, something we need to keep in mind. Let's see. Robert Deneri, why did you guys take out luck affecting caravan service for beacon runs? I don't know if we did. I honestly don't. I have not changed anything with that stuff. So, like, unless you're talking about something I mentioned in a previous stream where I said this was something we were going to do and we didn't. But I haven't touched anything with that. So if it was in there, it's still in there. If it never made it, then it means it was just like on the table and we just didn't move forward with it. There's in general, luck is a super underused stat in SS2, and it's been again another thing on my table, on my list of things I would like to address, because it's a fun one. In fact, we had a whole funny thing about that written into some of the content for Chapter 3 that's probably getting cut, with a character that was going to involve poking fun at the luck stuff. And that's one of those. That character is the one I want so bad. That character is fantastic. We'll see. But yeah, luck is definitely underutilized heavily in some settlements too. Let's see. Siondio, I guess that's how you say that. I hope you already planning mode for 76. You can save that game. I don't think I'm gonna end up modding 76. Like I loved the stories that they have in the game, and it was fun playing through the map once, but it's an MMO, and it's like I have problems with MMOs. I lost a lot of my life to World of Warcraft, and I will not repeat that mistake, and I don't want to encourage others to do the same. And as much as Bethesda tries to treat it like it's not that, it's an MMO. It's just an MMO with a very tiny population. Let's see here. Mustang 0524, like when Gearbox brought in a guy who had cancer to see Borderlands 3 before he died. You guys should do something like that with a fan. Yeah, that's the type of stuff that is really cool to see folks doing. We're not exactly equipped to do that. I can't exactly have folks. Yeah, that would be too much. I feel like I'm not equipped to deal with that. I really appreciate the sentiment. I'm glad there are people that love what we've created that much. But I think that's not something I'm prepared to do. I don't mentally or emotionally know how to handle that. But I love seeing when game companies do that. I think it's fantastic. Let's see here. Perdito, quick suggestion. Communication service in one settlement linked to other settlements in range instead of caravans in each one, just to help lessen plot number all. Skilled charisma required. I'm trying to think of what you mean, because there is already something kind of like that. So, So there's already a kind of a mechanic, like if you're talking about with the Mark 1 beacons, so we already have it set up to where, if you have like a date, like let's bring up a map so I can explain this better. So let's say you have caravan services in Sanctuary, right? And then, no, I just want to get rid of this silly extra marker. So let's say you have caravan services in Sanctuary and you also have communications. If you then build communications in, what's 10 Pines right over here, the range of communications relays. So it'll be like now all of a sudden your range for Mark 1 beacons is out to like here instead of like here. So the communications already daisy chained for that. As far as for settlement connections, I mean, it's just one caravan. Yeah, it's the caravan plot is the more important one. As far as adding like extensions to that, one of the things that hasn't happened yet with HQ, and it's on my table for post-launch content, like stuff we want to add in. But between chapters 2 and chapter 3 is a massive expansion to HQ stuff. But what's derailed that plan is that a lot of folks are running into a bug that is unexplainable to me, where the HQ cell resets. And if anybody who knows anything about the CK and setting up cells, if you look, it should be impossible. The whole HQ cell is set up to not reset, and yet it keeps doing it for some players. And it's enough players where it's going to cause a scare for people to not want to invest in HQ. So I can't invest any more resources in HQ or add more stuff until that gets solved. And the reason I'm bringing this up is stuff like what you just described is the type of stuff I wanted HQ to be able to do, of like adding upgrades that massively overhaul mechanics. Like one of the ones that we have on the table is extended caravan range. So like where it would be caravans could connect across, halfway across the Commonwealth instead of just just like a quarter of the way, or inter-world space caravans to where your caravans could connect between Far Harbor and Commonwealth. Stuff like that was going to be, you were going to be able to do upgrades with that in HQ, and that's the stuff I want to add, but not until we find out why HQ is falling apart for a lot of users. Like, I need to get that solved before I invest in those. But presumably we'll get to that point where I'll get all that stuff fixed, and then we'll start adding cool stuff like that to it. Let's see. I am Eliphas. Is there plans to introduce a cap for the Concord settlers? Currently in my game, they're so numerous, they're starting to leak into Abernathy. Really? That's crazy. I didn't think, like, I only think how many people there could be. So there's characters within the quests. There's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's like 10 people in the quest that can wander the streets. And then it's just the Concord set. Are they the ones named Concord Settler? Because right now there's I can't remember how many different doors there are in there that we actually have houses for. Maybe 20. So yeah, I guess you could end up with like 30 some people wandering around Concord when it's all completed. If you're finding that it's way more than that, I would definitely be interested in seeing a save with that so I could investigate, because it's maybe there's maybe it's something broken and it's spawning way too many people. Let's see here. Carvark magic is so costly. Yep, that is why I had to stop. I'm sure I'll get sucked back in again eventually. I saved all my, I saved my legacy decks and stuff because I'm like, I don't want to pay for that ever again. So if I ever get the itch again, I can, like, I'm sure when my kid is old enough to understand the game, I'm gonna get pulled back in a little bit again. Quester WI. I have been watching another YouTuber who does not give a crap about defending settlements, even those not built with ASAM. Is that a mistake to their part to end of chapter 2? No, the defend quests that we start hammering you with later on are just immersion. It's just to make you feel like the gunners are invading. You can totally ignore all of those. I know some people don't like those. In fact, we've already discussed that multiple times on the team of, like, there's a mechanic coming in chapter 3, and a mechanic that is supposed to be added to HQ, but is, again, on hold for the reasons I mentioned before. Some mechanics that would draw players back to locations repeatedly, and that kind of gameplay is really fun if that's what you're interested in doing in that particular moment. But if you're playing the normal Bethesda game loop is explore and find treasure. Like, that's what's the most fun about these games. And and during that you want to feel immersed into it. Like when you think about Fallout, most of the time it's, you come out of the vault and you're set into this open world, and it's infinite possibilities. You can do what you want. And like one of the most fun parts, not the only thing, there are other great things about the games, like the interacting with the characters and the stories is great too. But when you're in that mode of I just want to explore and see what I find and whatnot, then having these constant notifications pull you out of it is awful. Like that's how I feel. I imagine others feel the same way, because we always are talking about immersion. We're always looking for more mods to increase our immersion, and having pop-up quests that you had nothing to do with is very unimmersive. So any of those types of systems we're going to use for story reasons only, and then after that it's going to be all opt-in, because we don't want the player to be driven mad. So it'll be probably one of those things where it's like, for example, so one of the systems we have, and I've already announced this, that I'm hoping to add post-launch between Chapter 2 and 3 for HQ, is a disaster system. So if you've played any management sims where you're in charge of a facility and you control a lot of people, which is what HQ is supposed to be, usually there's problems that will show up. So if you think about something like Evil Genius, I think Evil Genius is the closest to what I was going to for HQ's gameplay loop, that periodically the agents will come invade and you got to deal with them, and that would be a kind of a disaster. There's something bad happening that you've got to deal with. And like I want to add something like that to HQ so that the departments always have something cool to do and a reason for you to keep up different staff levels. Like there'll be different disasters for each department. Is the problem with that will be people will get irritated if they have to constantly run back to HQ. So our plan already is, when those happen, you'll get radioed by people, and what I'm likely going to do is not just radio you in like you do in the main quest. So if those of you who have played through Chapter 2, there's a couple of points in there where you're walking around the Commonwealth and all of a sudden it gets switched to third person and someone radios you on your Pip-Boy. What we might do is add a message waiting icon on the HUD that just blinks, and like when that happens, and maybe it'll blink like once every 30 seconds, whatever, some amount where it's not irritating. And when that happens, you'll know you should radio into HQ. There's something on, but you could ignore it as well. We might do something like that. But we've already planned on that all of those disasters will have, and I think we've already recorded the audio for it, we just haven't implemented it, that you'll be able to talk to the department heads and tell them, you just take care of it, I don't want to come back there, because we know that players who are just immersed in a different type of gameplay, they're questing or they're exploring, do not want to have to deal with that kind of stuff. But those of you guys who are, you know, all in on the SS2 stuff, or you're in the late game where you've cleared it all, or you're just bored of, you know, you've done it all in Fallout 4 and you're just looking for some new activity, that for them those kind of loops can be a lot of fun, especially the attack stuff. Like I am a huge fan of the Conqueror raids. I think they're so much fun to have a fight, big giant fight happening in settlements. It's super exhilarating, and there's not a lot of big giant fights with 15-20 people in the base game, so having those happen all the time is a lot of fun if you're in the mood for that. So back to answering your actual question, that person on YouTube, it's okay for them to do that. It's just an immersion thing. Those quests, there's no harm in skipping those quests or ignoring them. In the same way, there's minimal harm if you ignore the vanilla raids. Let's see here. Perdito, Puri IQ, your tag is misspelled. It won't be highlighted for King Gath. Oh, did I miss? I wonder if Puri ended up reposting it. Well, I missed it. Let's see here. I am Eliphas again. Is there plans to introduce a cap for the... Oh, that's the same thing. I already read that one. Let's see. Maybe I've reposted it. Siondio, please start planning mode for 76. Even if you just port this, that would be amazing. Yeah, sorry, probably not going to happen. I think the most likely game I'm going to mod next, if I mod another game, will be Starfield. Like, I have such high hopes for that. I didn't at first. When it was just announced Starfield, I'm like, it just looks like they're doing their version of Mass Effect. And, like, I love Mass Effect, but I've already played it. Like, I don't need another one. But that looks more like Star Wars now, seeing all the screenshots, and then like a Bethesda game in the Star Wars universe. That's exciting. That's I mean, I know it's not the Star Wars universe, but that, like, Mass Effect to me was it leaned more towards Star Trek in its visuals. It was much more clean, high tech, and then like Star Wars is more that dirty low tech, which obviously I love from Fallout. And so seeing that was the art direction they kind of went, got me excited about it. And you know, it's going to be a single player RPG. It's going to have a lot of that exploration. It's going to have great character depth. Hopefully, you know, their main quests are more engaging than some of their games. But even if not, like, just exploring a new single-player Bethesda game is so fun. Then you can never recreate that first experience. That first time going through one of their worlds is incredible. So I'm looking forward to it. And inevitably, every time I play a Bethesda game, I have a million mod ideas that come in my head while I'm playing it, and I'll be jotting them all down, and then we'll see. Well, we'll see. I'm not making any definitive plans other than I want to finish this SS2 story before Starfield comes out, because I think a lot of you guys are going to quit Fallout for a long time, and I want to make sure you get a chance to see this story. Let's see. Thiago Sundfeld, why I can't recruit Lily to HQ? I think you're wanting to clean the Commonwealth and Mansfield would fit so well together. You should be able to. If it's not working, that's a bug. Let's see. Oh, and then I see some more from Loveface. That's fun. Quester WI, does Tales of the Commonwealth and its many parks work well with SS2, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2? I assume it's fine. I know that there's one cell that we overlap the door for. There's like something to do with robots, where you'll run into one of our doors covers theirs up, but we have a holotape solution for that. You can actually disable our door from the holotape, and I have a plan for making it a little more obvious in the game world without having to go to the holotape. Hey, Sirick, how you doing? You still with us? Did you fall asleep?
Hello.
I don't have any questions for you. I just was like, I do have one coming up for you, but I was curious if you're still there. Let's see. Perdito, with the mechanics that says overflow of food, water generates settlers in nearby buildings, are there plans for specific NPCs with special quests based on which settlements generating them? We had planned that for Chapter 3, but that's getting cut because we spread ourselves too thin doing Chapter 2. But that is possible. So one of the things that we always do that I've done since SS1 and we've continued to do, every new feature we put in, the goal is we create enough content to show other creators what's possible, and then I expose all the tools and I write up tutorials on how to do it. In fact, for those of you guys interested in building that kind of stuff, the tutorials for the world repopulation system are up on the wiki. I put them up. If any of you, like Yagi, if you happen to have that link handy, if you want to post it for folks, because I know I sent it to you directly, I have it on my list of things to announce in the next news video, which will be on the 28th. But yeah, the tutorials for that are already up, so people could start building quests like that. And I have a whole great series of tutorials on making basic quests. So to anybody who's inspired to create, You could get in and start doing that and inject to that system. There's also, and like getting voice actors for this kind of stuff is easier than ever because equipment is so much cheaper, like thanks to streaming and everything. Like it's real easy to get a high quality mic, and you will find tons of volunteers if you post up that like, hey, I'm working on a quest mod and I need some voice actors. You will get a lot of people volunteering for that. In fact, there's an add-on pack that came out recently for Sim Settlements 2 about Minutemen, and it's got a whole bunch of voiced quests, and this guy had never done any of this stuff. He just learned from tutorials, and he got an invite to our Discord server, which anybody can. You just got to go onto our forums and read a little bit to prove that you're willing to read, because that's pretty important for learning how to mod. And he just asked questions and figured out how to do this whole quest mod. So like, yeah, I think that we're leaving that to the community to flesh out. We've given you the tools, and we need help because we can't do it all. Let's see, Ron Stoppel. This question for Sirick. We get some attention to him so he doesn't fall asleep on us. If you could choose one voice actor from the vanilla game, except for the player VAs, because obviously that would be the choice, to join SS2, who would you choose?
Oh, that's a good one. I think it would have to be one, although I'm not sure which one we'd pick, one of the leader characters for the factions, because then we could tie in a lot more with those vanilla elements in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe Father. I think it would
have to be. I think it would have to be Father, mostly because you can dodge the Brotherhood. You can just not have them show up if you don't do the quest line, like, and still complete the game, right? Like you could still go meet Father, do that quest line, and be fine, and you could dodge the Brotherhood. I think you can dodge the Brotherhood if I'm not mistaken to get in there. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think Father would be that would be my choice too. And I've had a conversation with the agent of Father's voice actor. Because I was actually trying to pursue that of like, what could we get these people? And the problem we kept running into was they want us to have we have to get approved by SAG, which is Screen Actors Guild, and then that just opens up a can of worms that we're just like, I don't think we can deal with this. Like as soon as we're involved with a union, then any of our voice actors who are also part of that union have to start getting paid. And then if they get paid, then everybody else has to get paid. And it's like we couldn't possibly afford. Like if you saw how many lines of dialogue are in here, I mean, we probably have, no exaggeration, probably $150,000 worth of voice acting in this mod. It's so much voice acting. It's insane. So like we just couldn't do it. So like we just like can't do that, unfortunately. It's something I had on the Patreon. It might still be up there, but I don't think we can do it because it would just open up Pandora's box and the whole thing would come crashing down. Let's see, Ciendio. I would love to be able to put settlements anywhere. We can get building responsible for setting new settlement on the map. So there is a mod that does that, but the way he did it, it's not compatible with SS1. I assume it's also not compatible with SS2. The mod is called, somebody help me. It was by, and now I can't even think who it was by. There's a mod out there that does it. Excuse me, I think it's not Conqueror, it's Conquest. Conquest, I think it's called. So there's a mod already that does that, but I don't know if it works with SS2. It never worked with SS1. I'm guessing it also doesn't work with SS2, unfortunately. And that's just not something I'm interested in pursuing because I know how janky that would be. I am Eliphas. Request that in Chapter 3 or Chapter 2 patch, get the Ron's voice actor to sing FO4 SS2 rendition of Big Shot from Deltarune and insert it into the game as an Easter egg. I mean, I would love to see some of our characters sing. I gotta be honest. We joked about that with Conqueror development for the longest time. About so the Wasteland Theater we added. That was actually something we planned during Conqueror development, and it just kept getting delayed because we were overextending ourselves. Then the common thing on our team, we like to reach for the stars, and then flop down to the ground and miss. But the Wasteland Theater finally came into play. But one of the things we always wanted was, if you build the Wasteland Theater in Jammer's settlement, that the different characters like Ophelia and Jammer and Maul would all have random scenes where occasionally they would go up on stage, and we wanted, like, we're gonna have Jammer be like a terrible singer and sing like a rock song and really be really awful. I think we were gonna have Maul do slam poetry. Like, we had all these funny things it would be to have the characters do. So I don't know. What do you think, Sirick? Which character in SS2 do you want to hear sing? And maybe we could convince the voice actor to do it.
Let's make Aiden do it.
Let's make Aiden do it. Because could be something funny, a fun Easter egg to do with, like, Jake. Like, if you go into a settlement and you have a Wasteland Theater, like he'd go up on stage and do something. That could be kind of cool. I know there's the companion things where they talk to the bartenders. We can have Jake do something like that.
Well, if we make it a companion, why not?
Right, we talked about doing that. I know we have. Are you gonna? I know we had an instrument created for him. Are you gonna end up using that, or are we scrapping that? Like I have the 3D model for it. I just know that we didn't do any animations yet, and we didn't move on it.
I'm thinking we can still use it. We've got the whole room thing,
right?
Without too many spoilers. So I think we can add it.
Yeah, we can tell people that it's just a small group of people are going to see this. So we have if you have, spoiler it on HQ. So close your ears if you want to hear this. But if you dig around in the HQ stuff, you'll find eventually when you start cleaning the right rooms and assigning them the right way, you'll find that we actually have for all of the department heads, I think for all of them, there are customizable. There's custom living quarters that are themed after their character, where you can have it. It's just like you have to sacrifice a room for just that character, which is actually a pretty big sacrifice because there's only so much room in HQ for people. And it'll have little elements that tell you stories about them. And one of our hopes that I don't know if it's going to happen or not, just because limited time and budget. We always wanted to do the thing like in Mass Effect where you go interact with people's personal belongings and they talk to you about them. So we're hoping we'd love to add that for some of the department heads. But if you haven't already, if you've got HQ running, go dig around. You'll see that some of the rooms, if you look around, you'll see they say things like department head, like engineering department headquarters, and like that'll allow you to build a special room just for Jake. But it's kind of an Easter egg. You got to dig in there to find those until someone fleshes out all the wiki with all that information. Let's see here. Robert Denary, have you seen the multiplayer version of TTW? Would something like that be possible for us to do Conqueror? I have not. That's pretty crazy. I know there's a lot of people always trying to do multiplayer for Bethesda games, but I feel like none of those projects really like makes it to a easily usable state, because I always hear about them, like, you know, like different YouTubers will show them off and then they kind of just disappear into the shadows. So I think the developers get to a point where it's just too janky and they run out of patience for it or something. But that's definitely not something I would be pursuing, because it's going to involve F4SE, and given that I have this infinitely deep pool of things I want to do, and so do other people on the team, I would rather put the effort into things that all players can experience, because F4SE users are actually a minority of players. There's more players who are afraid to get into that stuff, who just use the Bethesda launcher, and Xbox players combined, than there are players who are willing to install F4SE. I also know a lot of people who mod like crazy, who choose not to use F4SE for a couple of reasons. One could be because they don't want their save to stop working if Bethesda decides to do an EXE update. And then also folks who are just, they've got burned and they just don't want to use it anymore. So I'd prefer to put in, since I have limited time and unlimited ideas, I'd rather put my time toward things that everybody can enjoy. Scrolling way down here, looks like, oh, Yagi, the spam filter's eating it. Stupid thing. I don't know how to, I got to look into my YouTube settings if I'm going to be streaming every week. I got to start learning some more of this stuff. I will add that to my list of things to do to try and figure out, and actually, let me just flag. I'm just going to give you, let's see if I can just add you permissions. Add moderator. You don't have to do anything with that moderator permission, but it should let you post it, Yagi. I can take it off. I know you asked me had to remove other permission or other statuses from you in the past, so I will happily remove that after the stream, but that should let you post, I think. Let's see. Carbot Conquest does not work with SS2. Okay, good to have that confirmed. XTeal 101. Can I play Chapter 3 without Chapter 2? My loader on Xbox mining space is limited. You will not be able to play Chapter 3 without Chapter 2, but we are 100% committed to making sure that there will be a possibility of having SS2, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 all installed simultaneously. We will cut whatever is necessary for Xbox players to do that. It might be that we do something like take all of the recruitable settler voice files out or something, but we're going to do something to make sure that Xbox players have an opportunity to experience the full Jake storyline. We're going to make sure that happens. It will not be the optimal place to do it. Your best place is going to be PC, but we're going to make sure it's feasible. So that's 100% going to happen, because I don't want you guys who started the journey to be screwed without having to buy a PC. That's not right. Yagi, is there a reason the Comare at the end of Chapter 2 has so many player activatable button switches? I think it was just something fun that Sebo, who does a lot of our technical animation, did just for fun. Like it was no particular reason. It was just he could. We have talked about that might turn into we might use that for a puzzle in Chapter 3. So right now it was just because we could, and it was just like a fun project for someone to work on. But yeah, it has no particular purpose right now. Let's see. Oh no, my thing jumped again. Here we go. Xteal, do I need chapter? Oh, yeah, that was the same question again. There we go. Now Yogi was able to post it. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Well, it's getting pretty late. I'm sure Sirick would love to go to bed. Thank you for joining me, sir. This was fun. I hope it was enjoyable for you, even though you had to just sit silently and try not to fall asleep on me half the time.
It's okay. I got a tiny bit of work done, so that's good.
Is there anything else you wanna say to the audience before we sign off for the evening?
Just the obvious of thank you for playing. You're the reason we're doing all this, so it's always fun to see so many people joining in the streams and just having a wonderful time. I appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure everyone else on the team does too.
Yeah, you know what? Let me add to that. Any of you guys out there who like to stream or like you post YouTube videos of your playthroughs, even if you're not talking a ton, we love watching those on the team. Even if you're not a popular YouTuber, like if you post them, if you want us to watch them, I guarantee you like half our development team will watch them for all of you. If you post links on the forum so we can find them so they end up in our hands, like we love watching it. I mean, especially if you're on a mic so that we can hear your reactions. It's so enjoyable to watch people play the mod. And see their genuine reactions. So like I said, anybody, no matter, you don't have to be a big YouTuber. Like we don't just watch the big channels. Like anybody at all who posts a playthrough of FSS2, we are all about watching that on the team and sharing it, and it gets us hyped. So if you're looking for a little audience, we got the dev team wants to see your reaction, and it actually helps us too, because seeing those genuine reactions can show us like where we should tighten things up or where we should do more of stuff. Because like really, like when you're doing story stuff in particular, like the game stuff is one thing, but story stuff is we're trying to get emotional reactions, right? Like that's the fun of telling a story. And like the only way we can confirm we did it outside of, like obviously we've done a good job with Jake, because there's so many people who shower him with affection and ask us when we're going to make him able to be a waifu for them. The only other way we see that it's working is by watching Let's Plays. So we are sharing them all the time in our channel, in our private channels on Discord. So please share them with us if you guys are out there. Put them up on YouTube. Even if you don't have an audience or whatever, put them up there. We would love to see them. All right, a lot of thank you, Sirick. I know you're seeing the chat. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll end a little short today, so Sirick can go to bed, and I'll get a little time to unwind for the evening. So we will catch you guys next Wednesday, same time. I may or may not have another guest. I think what's going to work better going forward is to bring on guests once we start Q&A session, because I think it was too hard for me to juggle the engaging with you, Sirick, and also playing forward with the gameplay. And a lot of it, I wanted to hear long-form answers from you. So, and that, again, would just delayed more of the gameplay. Luke, sorry, you're going to have a hell of a time editing this episode. I also forgot to hit record on the stream again, so we're still going to be stuck with this low bitrate. Those of you guys who have mentioned that the bitrate's really low, it's because I keep forgetting to hit record. So we have to download the stream, which is really low bitrate. And I bought a new hard drive just for this last week so that I could do this, and I totally failed to hit record. So next weekend, if you guys are, or next week on Wednesday, if you guys are here, please, just like at the beginning, like once we get close to 9 o'clock, everybody who's here in the early game, if you don't mind, just remind me. Say, hey, hit record, because I know I'm going to forget. All right, guys. Sirick, thanks again. Everybody else, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye-bye.